Darren out, the captain, 29 games on the trot with injury, but a different injury this week, Darren.
Yeah, I got a knee in the hip last week that I thought would turn out all right, but as the week's gone on, it's no good, so it should be right for North Ballarat next week. And
Andrew Nichols won the toss. You kicking to the right end, you reckon?
Well, I would go the other way, but that's only a personal choice, so.
Okay. Bad luck to see you out. He's coming up to 100 games, 97 he's played already, the captain out. So, great day, the bit muddy in that middle, Clinton, but you can look forward to Andrew Pugsley, ex-Collingwood, now at the Richmond sup list. He's out there for the Mustangs, so that's something to look forward to you. Clinton?
Thanks for that, Ross. Who is your selection, by the way, as we see the sticky centre?
I'll have to go for the Borough, I think.
Okay, thanks for that. And there is that sticky area. And they play cricket here at the Box Hill City Oval with the turf pitches. Umpires Matthew Head, Michael Forbes and David Ackland wearing number 36. Wanted to have a nice, clean white uniform, no doubt. Port Melbourne to the right of screen, Box Hill to the left. Taking the first possession was Haberfield for Box Hill. Out towards half forward, you see plenty of spectators up there on the terrace braving the cold conditions. Now Rowe gets it via a little handball off from Sikora, and it's a good pass, and it finds Andrew Tranquilli, the former Magpie, just on the 50-metre line at right half forward. Important for them to get a good start, Phil.
My word, not a bad crowd there on that terrace.
Do you give Box Hill a genuine chance?
You've got to give them a chance. Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. That they can play some pretty smart football, as their results have shown, Clinton.
So he
can kick a goal.
Andrew Tranquilli, third on the Box Hill goal kicking this season with 13 from 49 metres out. Starts it out to the right, and it stays there for one behind. So there is our opening score.
They've only kicked about 20 points less than Port Melbourne for the season. Now, I know that it's a bit inflated by some biggish scores, and they've had some low ones too, but, you know, 20 points shows they've got enough attack there. If not can do the job, who knows, Clinton?
Well, Box Hill have won 3 of their last 5 matches. Included in those losses, a loss to Werribee, second on the ladder, by just 1 point. So they could have been an extra win closer. Now, Hollow took that mark at centre-half back. A chance for Box Hill to clear. Port Melbourne, though, have the numbers. Getting it forward, McCormick towards Halpin. He flew, couldn't take it. Going through is Sexton. He was caught high. And Danny Sexton wearing the inflated number of 51 for the Borough.
Yes, he kicked 7 goals from the past 2 starts. He's been a reliable player around the VFA, VFL for a long time. Player with plenty of class, and he's enjoyed playing alongside Darren Crocker this year, but of course Darren Crocker with that chronic hamstring problem.
There's the reserve score. Port Melbourne by 4 goals over Box Hill, 10-12 to 6-12. Both of these teams had 6 wins and 4 defeats going into the reserves game. Box Hill third on percentage, so a big win there for Port, winning by 24 points. But now it's Danny Sexton, equal leading goal kicker for the Borough this season, but just 19 from their 11 games. He'll kick from right on 50. The rest of the ground in beautiful condition, aside from the sticky centre, and that's a beautiful kick. Opening goal took 2.5 minutes. Danny Sexton gets it. Port on the board with the opening goal.
Well, you know, Clinton, over the journey, Sexton has tended to be a little bit unreliable on the kicking. At times, not the most fluent. I mean, he kicks both feet, but sometimes he had a crook ankle a couple of years ago, and he lost a little bit of distance at that time. But on this occasion, you'll see the free kick through the side. It's fair enough. He doesn't have possession, and he's kicked that from 50 metres. He's really worked that kicking out. That's a good sign.
Box Hill get the centre clearance for the second time. Port, though, again have the numbers. Comes out wide to our broadcast wing, and Craig Foligno takes the mark, looks for options, sends it towards half forward. Slater getting back, uncontested. Adam Slater's had a great season for Box Hill, right up there in their best and fairest voting. 6 times listed in their best. Jenkins finds Brebner. Delivery to centre half forward is good. Tranquilli's got it again. A fraction too far out, you'd fancy, from 55. Loads it up. Loads it up. Not bad. Great goal, Andrew Tranquilli. There's the quick reply for the Mustangs. Yeah, we could be in for a shootout today, Phil.
Yes, Clinton, it's a bit like that, isn't it? Well, Tranquilli, you see him there, had league experience, of course. Brebner there putting it out, still just in the corridor, and Tranquilli.
Good heads-up play. Saw the goal square was open early.
Spot on. They've got a tendency to go a bit wide, the Box Hill boys, as Paul Barber, that former radio champion, wanders through, because he's a big Box Hill supporter, and Ross Boog will no doubt have a yarn to him later on during the game.
Usually watches with Darren James or John Farnham. Up to half forward. Durling, Sexton tackles strongly. McCartney started on the bench for about 10 seconds and was brought onto the ground by Coach Brendan Mason.
And no breeze, Ross?
No, nothing to speak of. And when you walk through our cricket pitch, it's pretty smelly, I can tell you. I did you go around it?
Did you ask the umpire why they didn't move the circle across Roscoe for Clinton's benefit?
That's it. You're talking to Clinton GRYBAS. Schaefer, little paddle into the way of Cameron. Off the ground. Missed by Baumgartner. Very close indeed. Scores level.
Well, the viewers will know that Clinton is a Collingwood supporter. He's been a bit grumpy the last few weeks, and last week he got even more grumpy because they actually had the temerity to throw the ball up in the mud there, and he wanted it changed. But, of course, you can move the centre square, but you can't move the centre circle.
Well, then why put 3 centre circles in the centre square if you can't move it?
That's a fair enough point.
Fair dinkum. Slater, the handball to Brebner. Another couple of touches earlier. Kicks towards half forward.
2 wrongs don't make a right, they say, Clinton.
Hollow sends it to the boundary line and over for a throw-in.
And interesting there to see the kick-outs, because we saw last night that Port Adelaide were prepared to give up the zone defence. They went man-to-man, as you would have known if you listened to ABC radio, because they picked it up tactically and explained it to their vast radio audience.
Well, we actually are number 1 on Friday nights, 3-0 with our call of the footy, so we do have a vast listening audience. Now, they're working hard here, the Box Hill boys. Rowan Brewer, kick forced out. And Sexton, gee, we know he's a leaper, couldn't take it there. Now a chance for Box Hill. Pugsley, another former Magpie, kicks inside 50.
Beautiful.
Tranquilly, great touch. Golden Knott. Great play, Box Hill. And Damien Knott, he is one to watch with a bullet. The 22-year-old has really made an impression over the last few weeks for Box Hill, and he's now kicked 19 goals for the season.
Yeah, well, he's kicked 18 from the last 5 games. He kicked 7 against Coburg in round 9. And look at Tranquilli, that smart play. He's done a little bit of basketball. Or was it touch ball, Roscoe? Well, whatever it is, it was good.
His wife plays basketball for the Australian team, Alison.
Well, I'm sure they do a bit of that in the lounge room, Roscoe.
Yes, indeed, but keeping it off the walls. Crowley playing, he's played over 100 games for the Mustangs. Injury prone, but great to see him. But the Borough through Henderson and now Bakulis. Here's the centre wing. Underneath it is Felino, who's been in good form, a former North Melbourne player. In midfield, up to Durling. In front, the hands were good. Here's Halpin, the kick in front of the Port Melbourne. That's Jenkins, who was instrumental there, and Darren Crocker up in that box on the half-forward flank. Just saying that Knott's been at the club, Phil, for a couple of years. He's a late developer from the Eastern Rangers.
Yes.
His slate has been in great form, as Clinton said, I think. He did. Brett Rowe in this week. Wheels around, kicks to centre wing. Oh, strong mark. Very strong mark for Box Hill by Ben Holmes, the centre half forward. He's from the Eastern Rangers as well, and at Richmond. Inside 50, the Port defence standing strong at the moment. Andrew Tranquilli won't get out of that. Chris Hollow, the captain.
We mentioned the Eastern Rangers a couple of times there, Ross. They've got a close relationship with Box Hill and potentially Hawthorn as well, another Eastern club to have the relationship with Box Hill. So that could be the future for the football Victoria.
And the Bulldogs talking to Williamstown and Werribee. I believe Sandringham and Springvale have had discussions with a Central Melbourne club.
Don't mention the war, Ross. They tell me there's a bit of dispute in some of these discussions. You can read about that in Inside Football next week. I've just taken up that issue, Roscoe. And the Brisbane Lions are warming to the idea of the Coburg Lions too, thinking that maybe that'll help them build their base down here. So there's a bit happening in the political world of football.
Warming.
Sakura, little hand pass away.
It's taken them 2 years to warm to it. They're a bit slow, though, some of our AFL comrades.
I heard that it's a fait accompli. There is Alison Tranquilli, formerly Alison Cook, the Australian Opals basketballer, watching on here at Box Hill this afternoon. So throw in, 60 around from Box Hill goal. Collins and Knott go at it. It's knocked down to Henderson. Hurries one towards the wing. Rose had plenty of touches early. He's an important player for the Mustangs. Kicks to half forward. There's Collins. Couldn't take it. Port should be able to clear. What can they try and set up? Bakulis goes towards the middle. Durling the target. 2-on-2 contest. This is looking good now. Slater. High ball. Full forward. Tranquilli coming out. He's got the set. Didn't read it all the best in the end as the Port players got in the way. Sakura feeds a hand pass out. Brewer Oh, he's almost sending it backwards, but it's a good kick, and he finds Cameron Crowley, who can line them up from directly in front. The Box Hill team has started well.
Oh, bad choice there to Holmes.
Turns it over. Port Melbourne through Martin, the former North Ballarat player, to Bakulis. He sends it out wide for the boundary line. Won't go over. Jenkins will get there first. Can he scoop it up? He can't, but he has some Port. Grace. Caught. He was under fire there. Durling, and it's over for a boundary throw-in.
Yes.
It was actually Crowley to Holmes at centre-half, to Knott, I should say, at centre-half forward, and he just floated it too high. You could understand why Crowley would have done it, but he had to get the kick right.
Grace has given none there in that tackle on the boundary line. 10 minutes in, the Mustangs.
And you came here today in a good mood. What was that?
Oh, I had to offset you two in grumpy moods. Collins down, he's been in good form. Brett Rowe, little paddle. Off the ground, helping. Quick hands by McCormick for the Borough. Here's Jenkins. Oh, didn't bend it, got away from him. Good old stretching. Pachoni outside 50 towards 20 metres out from the square. Schaefer's there, the big fellow. Chance, Sexton, quick little give. That's good. Pachoni, second goal. Misses. Well, he should have got that.
Yeah, it was smart by Sexton as he was falling to throw the ball out. He actually handballed it out. And Piccioni, good player. So the zone defences are out. We get a shot from the rear. You can see the zones out. 3 at least on either side.
Disney to bring it back into play. Goes towards the grandstand side for Slater, the man in front. Couldn't take it. Rover's important. Brebner. Box Hill players hailing the cab. They won't get one out here. We'll have a bounce.
Good drive out in the Eastern Freeway, Phil. You looking forward to that City Link?
Phil didn't know that the Eastern Freeway had been extended from Doncaster to Springvale Road. Therefore, where'd you get off at? You got off at Doncaster Road.
You're very inner suburban centric, Phil.
Oh, he doesn't get out this way much. Crowley, kick towards the wing, attacking side of it now. Off hands, important possession. Bakulis has done well so far. That's a good kick. Port did that often last night in the last quarter against the Magpies, finding the boundary line, and we'll have a throw-in. Beneath the social rooms there, here at the City Oval, some ground redevelopments coming our way shortly.
You can get a drink there, Phil, after the game.
I went by tram the other night down to Fitzroy. That was a big experience. I tell you what, no one seems to pay on the trams anymore. I don't know what's going on.
Crowley, it's a little hand pass off, and that kick goes out wide, and it's out on the full free kick for Port. I hear that they're considering putting poker machines on instead because you get more money than the Met card system.
It definitely would happen because no one paid on the tram I was on. I couldn't even find a conductor. When did they go, Ross?
A while ago. Howard Cameron bullocking his way through the back. Almost got a free. Felino off the ground. Quick little give.
Oh, trouble.
Halpin. Halpin it is, yes. High ball and a free kick to... No, it's going Andrew Nichols' way, the acting captain, in the absence of Wilkinson. It's taken by Allsop. Out to the Social Club stand to Slater, the ruckman. Andrew Tranquilli on the lead. It's a beautiful kick.
Giving Sharp a bit of some problems up there. He was named there, Tranquilli, as a ruck rover, but he's taken up a spot in the goals, and he's going to test, I think, pretty sure Hayden Sharp's... Is it Hayden Sharp who's got him? I'm sure that must be the case.
Well, if it is, he's be given away a couple of metres, I reckon, centimetres, Phil. Second goal coming up possibly for Andrew Tranquilli. No breeze. Ooh. Left a bit beautifully.
Yes, it is. It's Hayden Sharp up there in the back half. Looks good there, Tranquilli, using the ball, delivering the ball to him nicely. And you've got Holmes and Knott as well, the real talls up there.
Neat kick.
Yes, it is possible to be a neat kick and still miss the goals.
We saw that last week. Shane Rudd, 2 goals, 6. Jacoma brings it into play. Up towards the wing, Slater to Brewer. He's caught. Gets the hand pass away. Chance for him to go forward through McCartney. Good pass. Haberfield too far out to goal. Can load it up towards that hot spot area. He decides a more central location. And perhaps he would have been better going longer because they turn it over. Now Felino. Just a little chip to midfield's okay. This is looking good for Port. McCormick. Played in the VFL state game earlier this year. Good pass towards centre half forward. Now what can they set up here? Good pass. And coming out is Collins. In fact, it's Schaefer. And he will line them up from directly in front. A chance for Port's second goal. There's a good lead from Schaefer, comfortably in front of Nicol.
Go over it, Andy.
He's been given plenty of support, Robert Schaefer, this season with the improved, well, with the showing of Matthew Collins, surprising a few people, giving them 2 quality tools there. Now, can Schaefer convert up forward? 40 metres out, puts it through. Scores tied midway through the opening quarter here at Box Hill. VFL match of the round, round 13. Box Hill playing for their season today.
Yes, well, Nicol's got the job down there on Schaefer. As you can see, he's a big fella. It looks like Jenkins has got the role on Sexton there at centre-half back. But Chrissy Hollow just puts it nicely in front. You've really got to have a big man into the corridor where possible if you're going to stop those tall forwards.
Collins beautifully down to McCormick. Well worked by the Borough. Out to Durling. McCormack has followed up well. Inside 50. Schaefer first there. Bounce didn't favour him. Grace nicely gathered out to Brewer. State rep this season against the Sandford. Good kick.
Move it, move it, move it.
Brebner from half forward, the kick from Haberfield. Brebner, oh, got away from the man. Nicely steadied. Now where's Tranquilla? He might be the target. At the full, not. Got it to boot. That was good. But the Borough should relieve through. Ashley Martin.
Gets the hand pass over the top. Felino will drive them towards half forward for Sexton. Jenkins and Slater alongside. Free kick against Slater. Danny Sexton will take it. Jenkins stands the mark. Slater will fall back to plug the gaps.
See,
they
got 2 players back to that zone, but they still gave away the free kick. I mean, that's not good football.
Sexton pops it up, hoping for a Schaefer mark as we check the AFL scores. Brewer gets in the way. At the MCG, Kangaroos early over the Brisbane Lions, and at Waverley Park, the Saints early. We've said that for the last few weeks over Richmond. Chance now for Box Hill. What can they try and set up? Brebner. He's had plenty of touches early. Got it that time from Nicol. Delivers to half forward. That's good. This is looking better. Now, McCarroll just pops it up. It's 1-on-3, though. Not had plenty of work to do. And Bakulis, who's been impressive early, takes the mark. Feeds it out wide for Halpin. Hugs the boundary line as he goes short for Martin. There you see the Box Hill interchange. McCarroll on for Holmes. Another short pass. Now Henderson to try and bring it away. Kicks towards centre-half forward, through Paccioni. Now Brewer, he's had plenty of touches, misses the target there, Durling. What can they do? Rowe, likewise plenty of touches. To Disney, this is looking much better from Box Hill. They're in this game today. And now Crowley has it, defensive side of the wing.
Inboard to the unmarked Robinson. Well, made a meal of it. Halpin, 3-on-1. Too high against Pugsley, I think.
What's the free kick count running? Paul Field, our statistician.
Pugsley, was that the Adams family roster?
3 to none in favour of the
Borough. It was, yes. Phillip going back in history. Paccioni handing his... Oh, held. Was he in possession?
Got rid of it.
Was Allsop. Let go. The Slater did very well. Haberfield again. He's got a lead. Stretching.
Oh, go over the top seat too long.
McCarroll to Brebner. Still... There was enough time, even though they were a bit slow to get it on.
But really, Ross, he went way back. He should have stood his ground and then handballed the ball over the top. And Brebner would have been able to keep running.
Don't go forward.
Old heads understand these things, Roscoe.
Don't go forward.
Very old heads understand these things.
McCarroll's
Send the
only
runner
19.
Here's Brebner for the 3rd goal for the Mustangs. Kicks to Whitehorse Road. Just the wrong side of the post.
Yes, Whitehorse Road, that's left of screen. Look up your Melways if you're not sure. Get an idea of why it's so hard to get from West Brunswick to the football sometimes. Interesting game, this one, of course. Some good play in the midfield. Some dangerous forwards on either side.
This is Martin, the former Rooster. Now, not all that convincing at the moment. Chacoma goes short. Henderson has a little bit of space. High ball towards the wing. The target is Cameron. Gave a nudge, gives away a free. First for Box Hill. Couple of Bronx cheers. Brett Rowe will take it. Squares it up for Crowley. Plenty of Box Hill players finding a lot of the footy. Crowley's kicked towards half forward. McCarroll getting in front. Couldn't take it. Punched away over the boundary line by Hollow for a throw in.
Well, they've certainly started better than last week. The Mustangs, just before three-quarter time last week against the Zebras, Sandringham, they were 100 points down. That's amazing. They kicked just 2 goals to Sandringham 17.
And a big last quarter. Box Hill 8-1 to 2-3 to only lose by 10 goals.
Collins down to Henderson. Sharp gives it away. Brett Rowe in front of the Box Hill bench. Long kick, but deep into the pocket, too far, really. But marked by Pugsley. Good grab, even mate. It's been a throw, no, out in the full.
The first touch inside, second touch outside. So Box Hill by a point as we come up on time on of the opening quarter. 2 other matches being played today. We'll bring you the scores of those games, but a good crowd here at Box Hill in threatening conditions. Although Ross assures us it won't rain. From the throw-in, Box Hill win it down. Ooh. Now, McCormick shows a turn of speed as he delivers towards the wing. Paccioni goes down.
Against him there, he used the body. The ball was well outside the 5-metre range, and he has to be penalised for that, using the body well in advance of the arrival of the football.
Bumped off another of the Box Hill young players in Allsop. This is good movement through the middle. Delivery inside 50 for Tranquilli. It's knocked away. Now Fan sending it towards the line and over for a throw-in. Forward pocket for the Mustangs.
I can't resist, Phil. Simon Fan's a Biz Echo student at Monash, number 32, first year.
The brotherhood sticking together.
Oh, we had the La Trobe University Cup.
Yeah, didn't we hear about that? Schaefer against Knott to contest. It was a good match last week. Knott wins it down. Soccer off the ground from Knott. Will be over for a boundary throw-in as it hits the behind post. And great to see a few more cups getting involved in the competition.
Yes, it is good. And they played in a very scholarly manner, the two sides last week. They didn't play like economic rationalists. They played with a great deal of flair, I thought, and cooperation in each side. Excitement plus it was.
Schaefer over the back in the ruck now that Collins is off for Port Melbourne. Up to Cameron. McCartney was spoiling and Halpin couldn't keep it in. Couple of Box Hill stalwarts there on the fence. Good crowd, Phil.
Yes, I think Jacoma might have got the shift over there onto Tranquilli too. Roscoe probably discovered that Sharp was a little on the smallish side. Took them a little while to get into that.
And Sharp got the shaft out of fullback.
Indeed. You're with it today, Roscoe. You're well rested during the week. Must be no students out there at Monash.
Not at the minute. The mid-term break. Mid-semester break, we should say.
Easy life for lecturers, isn't it?
Too easy.
I'll leave that. Matthew Head to bounce. Oh, nicely done. Out looking, but not finding a man. The captain, Chris Hollow, did well.
Oh, yes!
Caught. Let go, Bakulis it was. In the back, lucky one.
Oh, dear me, I reckon there was a prior opportunity in there, Roscoe. I don't want to sound like you-know-who, but I was a little bit concerned about that.
Thanks, Mr. Russo. The kick beyond the defensive 50, but Nickel marks for Box Hill. They're surging now. They've got a couple of loose men in the pocket. Oh, it's too high. Port get back there, should be able to spoil. They do through Sharp, and getting put on his backside was Haberfield for a boundary throw-in. In fact, it ricocheted out on the full. McCormick will take it. In the last line of defence for Port. They're under pressure. They know they're in a real fight today. Jacoma sweeps the hand pass wide. They're certainly out of trouble. Sexton creeping a long way down the ground to try and see the footy. We've gone 23 minutes, as you can see. Box Hill by a point. Sexton, delivery, not bad. Paccioni, Foligno rather, marks just inside the field of play. He looks for a couple of options. Heads towards Cameron, getting in front. Couldn't take it. Mark could have been paid. Yeah, I thought so. Just about for McCartney. Wasn't paid. Pacino squares it up. Has Henderson waiting underneath it. Knocks it down. This is Hollow from 55. Goes short. Still pressing. McCormick, who had the kick in from defence just a moment ago. Grace. They force it out well. Sakura hooks up with Slater. This is better. And away go Box Hill. Jenkins to centre half forward all alone. Crowley turn around, kick the goal, son, they say. Oh, no. He'll be disappointed by that. behind from Cameron Crowley when a goal was beckoning for Box Hill.
Dare I say it, but Crowley has from time to time been a very neat kick of the football, so I'm rather surprised at that, Ross.
The kick into Halpin. Well, doing wheelies on the spot. Didn't move off the line, so not called to play on. Sexton well up the ground on centre wing from half forward. Having a good year. He punts it towards Durling, is at the back from the side.
Oh, yeah, it's a miss.
Hollow, not
Gotta
pole.
be a mark. Sonny Blakey touched it. Now he's penalised him.
You, Phil, you did fit in that crowd very well.
Giving me an earful over the journey, that group of ladies. I won't say any more about them, Ross. I could get into deep stripe and end up with letters, so leave it at that.
McCartney with it to half forward. Brewer. Oh, Jenkins slipped. I hope he's okay. He's up and he's all right. Sharp. Usually has long hair. Chopped off by Slater. He was looking for Hollow. Bad kick, really.
What, his hair?
His hair, I mean, yes.
Chopped off by Slater. The opposition player chopped off his hair.
Slater was a barber.
It is all happening out here, God.
Oh, Tranquilli gets a sidestep nicely, but Henderson in the whale switch play.
Henderson started this match well. Now Bakulis has a man in plenty of space. Hollow marks.
That's a mark.
Got no one to give it to, though.
That's play
Got no
on.
one to give it to, so he's got to wait. Now he just pops it up. Good lead out provided by Durling. Couldn't take it, and it'll go over for a boundary throw-in.
See, that mark of Hollow, Hollow was quite in his right to believe that he'd marked it, and then the umpire to penalise him, I think, wasn't using enough imagination, Ross. There is an element of discretion in umpiring, and that was the moment to use it.
Subjectivity.
Well, I wouldn't call it subjectivity, because that would not quite be right.
We could give them a walkie-talkie on the TV games and they could check with you. Grace off the ground for Box Hill. Flicks out the back of the pack. Cameron there. Little toe poke, not all that effective. Oh, Paccioni gave his opponent Haberfield a little nudge. And the free kick will eventually be awarded to Haberfield at centre-half back. Grace didn't look all that fit there. And that's 50 against Howard Cameron. Didn't let him go quick enough. First 50-metre penalty of the game, and it'll give Haberfield a chance to send Box Hill deeper to attack. Box Hill by a couple of points, trying to keep their season alive here today. So far this season, they've won just once at home. That was against Williamstown in round 8. Now, Disney, long kick of the footy towards the square. Great mark, Schaefer getting back.
Gee, took the punt, didn't he? Marking from behind, but he had it covered.
Jacona to McCormick. Plenty of time. Looking for someone to kick it. It'll be Paccioni, who's one out. Used the body well then legally. Got away from his man. Good kick up towards Sexton. But Nicol, gee, that was strong defence from Andrew Nicol.
You're dead right, Ross. He used the body beautifully then, Paccioni. Just edged the player out, but he took off, and then he was under a little bit of pressure.
Durling will ruck against Slater. Sexton standing off the pack. Durling the centre half forward. In front there's Slater. Having a good year. In fact, he's leading the 3SCR Player of the Year competition, which is a pretty good indication, usually. Durling.
You must have shares in community radio, Ross, honestly. I thought it was a non-profit organisation.
That's right. Disney, high ball, Schaefer. I was going to say, not really attacking it that strongly, but he's loping after it. Brett Rowe. Schaefer persists. Good play. Rowe
Good hands.
didn't have to do it.
That's good
Easily.
work.
Not back to Pugsley. To half forward on the lead. Tranquilli well up from goal. Good play. He'll have to get it in quickly. Brewer calling for it. It goes in his direction.
Oh,
Too
stiff.
late.
That was stiff, wasn't it? Siren going as he ran to mark the ball.
Shades of last night at the final siren. Collingwood going forward when the bell sounded. I won't let it go. I won't let it go. Box Hill, though, we're in a prime position there. But the timekeeper's hand was poised. And at quarter time in our match of the round, VFL round 13, Box Hill by 2 points. There's the scoreline, 2-4 to 2-2. Look, Phil, it's going to be a tough old afternoon. It's not going to be a one-sided game.
No, it's going to be very entertaining. They've got some good scoring players, or players capable of scoring heavily. Box Hill. The matchups look all right. Gee, Tranquillity's looking dangerous up there. We're in for a very, very interesting afternoon. Do not leave your seat at home, believe me.
There are the goal kickers, Schaefer and Sexton for Port Tranquility, and not for Box Hill. Bev, a 2-point margin at quarter time. Pretty entertaining game. Box Hill by a couple of points.
Thanks, Clinton. Let's look at the AFL scores that in the games that are being played this afternoon. Kangaroos, 3 goals, 3-21. Corey McKernan, Wayne Cleary and Gary Durkay with 1 each. For the Lions, Richard Champion has 2. Jared Malloy has 2 of Brisbane's 4 goals, 3-27. Bit of an incident on the field. A marking contest between Stephen Lawrence and one of his teammates resulted in him being concussed, and he has been stretchered off the field. The Saints versus Richmond, let's take a look. 1 goal, 6-12 to Richmond's 2 goals, 1-15. Justin Platt with the 2 goals for Richmond. Barry Hall has the Saints 1 goal. Results now from the first... take a look at the VFL matches being played this afternoon. And Preston, there we see 3 goals straight, 18. Port Melbourne, 4 goals straight, 24. And Springvale and Bendigo, 1 goal, 5-11 to Bendigo, 2 goals straight, 12. Results now from the first 4 events on the card at Flemington. In the first, the crisp steeplechase over 4,000 metres. Palace Symphony from Around the Neck and Naruma Guy. Gentleman Jack was the unplaced favourite. Race number 2, Something's Felt from One Love's Choice and Emotional Success. Lady Julie, the unplaced favourite, and the winner of the first run after a bit of a spell. Race number 3, Crasher Macaulay from L'Chaim and Chiming Door. Crasher Macaulay 2 wins for 2 starts. And in race number 4, number 1, Marlborough, the favourite, took the steeplechase from number 8, Centrix, and Noble Ben Barra. And I should probably mention that that match was between Preston and Sandy, not Port Melbourne. But let's rejoin the team at City Oval for the second quarter in what's turning out to be a fairly tight contest so far. Whose huddle will we go down into Box Hill?
Yeah, and we'll have a listen to Port Melbourne, Bev. Darren Crocker was with us a couple of weeks ago in commentary. Let's go and listen to him now.
Let's have our midfielders, right, playing the corridor a little bit more. Let's not go out so wide. Let's not get trapped out right near the stop prime sign and right out the other side. Let's play up and down the corridor. You know, there was one there, Swallow. You had the ball out the other side. I think it was Shape and Craig here. We're in the corridor, you know, like that drill which you practice every night at training. So let's work the corridor. The forwards, you guys start out wide. Let's leave the space in front of the goal square as the hot spot, and we come back into that space. And all the guys coming through the midfield, whether you're coming off half-back or through the midfield, we kick it to the top of the square. And have our forwards working back there. The smaller guys, Bummy, Leroy, you guys are getting front and square to the contest. The other thing is, just look at the stats, the team stats, our tackles, our pressure has been non-existent.
It's lifted.
Come on, let's lift it. You know that, look, we spoke about them being an over-possessing team. They're just going to run and try and spread us and try and get us to play unfamiliar football to what we're about. Let's get them to play the type of football we want to play. Let's close it down. Let's become accountable for a bloke. Ash, you got to tighten up there. Make sure your hand is across Crowley at all stoppages. Same with all the midfielders. Let's play accountable football. Let's close it in. Let's work the corridor. Let's keep the forward line open. Shafe and Colo, you guys are going to go one-on-one with Slater. Come on, boys. And Dirls, you're going to push up in the midfield. Look,
work harder, boys.
It seems like every time we travel away from home, we come out and we're flat. Let's have a bit of enthusiasm.
Well, there you have it from Darren Crocker urging his team on, so that they're not all that good tourists, Phil, and they've shown that so far.
Well, he's pointing out too, Clinton, that their tackles and their pressure's down. You see, it's really important to get that intensity into your game. When you travel away Yeah, it is unfamiliar territory. You come in against a side, he says, it possesses the ball, and we're seeing it here. He's emphasising the fact they hold on to the ball and they fiddle it around. If you start laying tackles, you see Sexton here, who started all right. If you lay tackles and put pressure on, usually the rest of the game comes together, you know. The goals come when all the hard things are done, those selfless things. Sometimes you think you got it under control and you just worry about getting a kick, taking a mark, kicking a goal, and then it all starts to fall apart. And Box Hill, as I said, they're a bit unpredictable. Tranquilly there opened them up early. Tranquilly opened the game up early, as I said, and he was pretty lively. I had to move sharp off him. Jacoma got the job afterwards. So there's a bit happening in the game, but yeah, Crocker's right. It's a bit open. It's in times a bit open, and he's worried about him going wide too, Clinton. He wants them to get into that corridor, and I couldn't agree more with you, Darren, about that. And that was not there, slipping one through.
Let's have a look at the stats. The key stat, the major discrepancy, inside 50. Box Hill 14 times inside their attacking 50, but their return just 2 goals for. Port Melbourne 6 times inside 50, their return 2 goals too. And the Borough with those big men Collins and Schaefer winning the headouts 9-4. Individually, Crowley with 7 possessions for Box Hill, Brebner and Tranquilli both with 6, while Rowe has had 8 touches, 5 kicks, 3 handballs, and Haberfield 7 for Port. Bakulis with 5, but McCormick leading the way with 8 kicks in the first quarter.
Well, part of that 50-metre problem for Port is because they're going a bit wide. And looking at them today, I think they're going to have to do a lot better to be a serious premiership side. They need to exert more pressure. They need to run in the numbers and get into that corridor, Roscoe. So very interesting. We'll listen to Darren Crocker there. Had a bit to say, and he's not that happy. How was your little huddle, Roscoe?
Here's Brendan Mason tackling and shepherding up, and the attitude right today.
Yeah, Roscoe, like our work rate's been good, our work ethic's been good, the pressure's much greater. We're having a dip today, and where we've come from last week's important. We did that. We've just got to use the ball better, kick longer to position, and keep the pressure on them, and make sure that we hit our targets. Too many unforced turnovers in the quarter. Good on you.
Thanks, Brendan. Thanks, Brendan Mason there. So, yeah, good feeling in that Box Hill huddle, and a lot of pressure with Sandy 8 points ahead.
Body language was right, was it, Roscoe?
Right.
Terrific. Thanks for that, Ross, and thanks also to Brendan Mason for making himself available for us at quarter time of this match. Ready to go, second term. Box Hill by a couple of points over Port. You saw those scores from the other matches. Sandy in front of Preston by a goal, and Springvale and Bendigo, the quarter time score there as well. So Box Hill by a couple of points. They're off to the right of screen to start this second term. Port to the left. They've got to start winning some ruck contests. Box Hill, they don't this time. Martin sends Port inside 50. They get the centre clearance again. Riding the bump there was Allsop. Now Disney gets it out. Rowe, plenty of touches. There was another. Good hook up. Crowley feeds it on. Haberfield to half forward. Tranquilly working hard. Good work. Back to Haberfield. High kick to full forward. Not waiting underneath it. Bakulis did well to punch it down. Port defence still under the pump. Well done. Forcing it over the line was Simon Fan for a throw in.
Not used his body quite well then, Clinton, didn't he? Just leant back on Bakulis to keep him out of the contest. He was nearly able to pluck the mark. Still, they box it a little bit wide. Then they brought it into the corridor.
But they do run it well, though, don't they?
Well, they're running it better than Port Melbourne, I'd say, at this point in time. They are linking up better, and they certainly do hand the ball off.
Knott and Durling. Knott wins it down. Henderson held without it. Free kick. Port will take it. Henderson 7 possessions in the opening quarter. Number 8 now as he goes very wide. Out to the grandstand side. Bakulis delivering towards the wingers. Perfect. This is a good setup now. Heath Goodale really sighted in the first term. That's almost played. Not quite for Dwayne. They rove anyway. Port fans vocal. And they certainly are vocal. They like seeing their team on telly, and they like seeing them do well out on the park as well. Slater had to be quick there. Found Rowe, that's all right. This is where they move it well. Crowley, that's not a good kick. McCormick bumped off it by Haberfield. A good fair bump. Well and done. He finds Sikora. This is important possession. This is good. Back to Sikora and away they go. He's got space. Goes to Tranquilli. Great play. That's a free. No. Ball goes over the boundary line for a throw in. And Tranquilli, had he held that mark, they were looking good. There's Darren Crocker, edge of the seat stuff.
Just should have gone longer there, Box Hill.
I thought Sikora could have kept running.
Yes, he could have, and he should have put it towards the corridor. You know, I don't understand why you'd want to drill the ball to Tranquilli there, leading towards the boundary, and they lost it, Clinton.
Getting in front, Holmes knocked it down. Henderson to McCormick. He is everywhere. Possession number 10 for Lino. Caught. Sikora with the steal. 45 out. Handballs to space. No one there for Box Hill. And Sharp sends a mini torp up towards the wing. Jenkins will get there first. Now, what's his disposal like? Beautiful for Brebner, can keep on going. He's got men with him. They should have told him to keep going. Oh, and he goes backwards. Risky play. Turnover crucial. Baumgartner's got it. Port on the break. Kicks towards 50. Schaefer the target. Fortunately, the Box Hill defence up to it there. Nickel heads for the boundary line. And will he find it? Yes, he will. Gee whiz, that kick from Brebner, Phil, it's enough to make Brendan Mason sick.
Well, because if you've got players running past you through the corridor, you can use them. But because they were all forward of the player, he then had to try the set play, and it didn't work. It was always going to be dangerous. Interesting, too, you know, that Collins, as Crocker pointed out, is staying back with Slater when Slater's across half-back, so he's staying with him, Clinton.
Brebner's disposal there. This time it was perfect. Just came one kick too late. Gets it back. Plays the 1-2 with Holmes. Kicks towards half forward. Waiting underneath it. Almost for Pugsley, but not quite. And now Bakulis. He's been pretty good down back. And that's a good kick out wide. Here's Goodale.
Who has been reasonably quiet. State rep.
At his old club.
Against his old club. That's right, Phil. Marked by Nickel. Andrew Nickel.
Oh.
Scott Dwayne on the bench for the Borough against his old club. Box Hill, McCartney. Switching play. The lead from Crowley.
Good
should be able to
kick.
get this. It was right down his throat.
Good run, that's the idea.
Bit easy away from Ashley Martin. Spearing kick. No grab there to Tranquilli. Pugsley throws it to his boot. Misses. Crowley. It's intercepted. That's Jacoma. Loses it. Pugsley fights on. Jacoma drags it under. Will he be penalised? And now it's out. On the left foot goes Crowley. Durling did well, the big fellow. 1-2. And coming up with it is Henderson in conjunction with Hollow. Jenkins slips again. Gee, players are slipping a bit.
Gee, what about Crowley, Phil? 3 key misses. One in the first quarter, kicked to behind. There he's just kicked to no man's land, and he caused one of the turnovers earlier. He's getting enough of the footy.
It was a beautifully delivered left foot, but it just was to the wrong player. It went
Sharp.
to the Port man.
55 out. Long kick towards the square. 1-on-1. Schaefer. Thank you.
Yo.
He gets his second, and the Borough take the lead.
Well, he's a big boy, Schaefer, isn't he? And he's going to take a lot of work there. And when the ball is floated high, as it was there by Sharp, you'll see it. Just watch this. And now, and also, Sharp should not have been allowed to turn. I don't know what's going on, Ross. You got to, blokes know that. You don't let a player turn into the middle, and you see Schaefer there. Once that happens, it's so easy. That player should never have allowed that to happen. Should have stopped and cut off that move into the corridor.
Oh, Phil, you're talking like a Collingwood coach.
Well, you just things, you know, good players don't let that happen.
Brett Rowe, bang. On the side, Tranquilli, that's a magnificent. Oh! Over the head.
Oh, he's missed.
No, he's
he
taken
didn't
it
think
back.
the mark was paid, I think. Because he felt he should have got a free kick down here, and I think he didn't trust the umpire to pay the mark. Watch this. Oh, I didn't mark it. That's
Well,
right,
I'm not sure that he did, but
We might have another look after he kicks.
he didn't mark it.
He played on anyway.
yes, but this is a question of the umpire ruling that it was he's assuming advantage, Tranquilli or the like, and so because it wasn't to his advantage, the umpires actually said, well, in fact, I'm playing a mark.
We'll see if we can have a look at it again. We will after he's had a kick. So
Well, I don't know what you said, Phil. I think you're agreeing with me, are you? But,
No, I'm saying I'll come back to it. It's a bit hard to explain.
Okay. 2 goals if he gets it to Tranquilli. He knew he didn't mark it and played on. The umpire awarded the mark.
The player could hypothetically think that he has not been paid the mark because the umpire hasn't seen it. He's played on and so he's working off advantage. The umpire says, no, it wasn't to your advantage. We're actually going to pay it, and you'll see it here. But whether he did or didn't isn't so much the issue. But
It hits the ground.
I don't know
whether he marked it.
No, I think he did too. I think his hand was underneath Clinton as it hit, and the ball bounced off his hand.
which means he's played on and he's kicked it behind.
No, it hits the ground.
I don't know whether it's hit the
He
ground.
knew, that's why he played on, because he knew he hadn't marked it. Anyway.
Because the umpire didn't have time to come back and set the mark. He couldn't have blown the whistle. So Port unlucky. I think a lot of Port fans have just thrown something at the tilly. It's not our fault. McCartney to Holland. Takes the mark, goes wide, Brewer.
It's Phil's fault.
Yes. Brewer will go backwards to a more central location for McCartney. Oh, has it knocked away? Caught high. Schaefer not happy.
I've got to say, there are some rubbery umpiring decisions just at the moment, Kevin Mitchell. I've got to say that to you.
Brewer marks inside the defensive 50. Now Disney has a couple of men wide. Sikora's been okay. Has the mark. Now, this is the important kick towards half forward. Pops it up. Rowe coming forward. Haverfield. That wasn't paid. Looked more likely than Tranquilli's. Fan to McCormick. Gets it away to no one in particular. Disney had to wait, heard footsteps, but took a good mark. Stood his ground beautifully. Goes to centre half forward. Crowley this time. Got to finish. His fourth chance. It's another mongrel kick, but it wobbles through for a goal for Crowley.
Why bother kicking the ball neatly when you can kick it like a mongrel and get a goal, Clinton?
Stephen Kernahan would have been proud of a helicopter like that.
Well, if you look back, his left footer before spun beautifully, but it went straight to Port Melbourne. This one, as Disney spots him, beautiful, beautiful decision here, right into that corridor. Look at the kick. Yes, he doesn't guide it, but can you believe that? Buy a Tats ticket, Mr. Crowley.
Yes, just recently played his 100th game, injury-ridden in the last few seasons. He's been a stalwart of this club. He's got the ball again in the middle and with physical strength. Breaks through that tackle, puts it out wide, looking for Knott. It just went over his head. The Coulis is there. Running onto it, Sikora, but Henderson,
Where's he going, Ross? Where's he going?
Left footer. He had to turn away. He didn't like the chances on the right foot. Not a bad option. Out to Foligno. Fakes a hand pass. Fan was the target, intended perhaps. He goes to half forward. Big Collins is out there. Strong and agile player.
Well, that's interesting, you see, because he is on Slater.
Kicks to half forward. Brewer.
In the ruck, that is.
Collected by Dwayne. Free kick advantage. No, let's bring it back, they say. We've got a little bit of a how do you do going on. Just a couple of players introducing themselves. There's the AFL details. Brisbane leading the Kangaroos by 10 points at the MCG. Kangaroos looking to win their 10th straight. St Kilda not kicking straight at Waverley Park against Richmond, but they lead by 4 points. McCartney delivers towards the wing, off hands. Crowley getting it under the footy. Good handball that time for Rowe. Delivery good to centre half forward. Pugsley gets it on. Chain of handballs. Wetwell's going to end up with a goal for Ben Holmes.
Gee, that's good play.
I reckon he squeezed it through.
Got it home.
It was only just. Holmes gets it home, and Box Hill are on a roll. They've kicked 3 goals in 4 minutes to lead by 14 points.
Gee, that's good linking up, Clinton, isn't it?
Yep.
That was just nice. They set it up beautifully. Crowley there, beautiful hands. Haberfield wasn't it there, got onto it and slipped it in to Robinson, and then the goal going to Holmes. Running in easy as you like, but that's neat. Nice play, getting that ball into the corridor.
The Mustangs are on the boil today, unlike last week. They need to be there. 2 games behind the Zebras, but Goodale for the Borough. Pops it very high to the 50-metre line. Sexton backs back. Running onto it, Paccioni. Chance. Oh, a bit cute. In the way was Holland. Kept it in just. Good hand pass to Brett Rose. Doing well in his game. Included in the side this week. Henderson. Half volley, couldn't trap it. Past players from Box Hill had a reunion last night, Phil, and they're trying to get a database for the club. So if you are watching, former player, perhaps John Murphy should ring in and get on that database. Please ring the club. And Port are having a reunion on the 25th of July at the TAG Oval. So contact your clubs, past players and current players at Port.
Port send it forward through Cloughy. McCormick everywhere at the moment. Delivery to full forward. Good work by the Box Hill defence, not out of the running here. Durling's handball sharked by Holland. Kicks towards Crowley, had a couple against him, and the boundary line will win out for a throw-in. Box Hill by 14 points.
And of course on Wednesday, the book about Tommy Lath, Game for Anything, will be launched, written by Ken Linnett, a biography of the great Tommy Lath, the great late Tommy Lath. That'll be down Wednesday. Bobby Skilton to launch that, Clinton, so it'll be
that concludes,
a nice little session.
That concludes our community service announcements for this Saturday. The kick inside 50 for
I've got another
Port.
couple.
Oh. We'll have another boundary throw. We've got another throw in. Do you want to keep going?
These throw-ins are a problem, aren't they? They
We're just talking to John Ballantyne, the Port full-back, about America's over there trying to get into punting for the NFL. He didn't think he'd play football. He wasn't a bit reluctant to talk, but on air, that is, about it. But he's giving up football because it's a bit risky, so I guess there's a lot of money. John Ballantyne.
Oh, OK. Disney kicks towards centre-half back. This is good. Rowe, some run, some direct footy. To full forward, not coming out. Just didn't reach the contest. Well done, Fan. This is not... He's a goal sneak. Kicks towards the square. Which way will it bounce? Hits the post. He is a goal sneak, just not quite there. Well done by Fan. You mentioned it during the call. Great courage to get back there and punch that away.
Yes, some smart play.
On for Porter
Robinson, in fact, who punched that ball on for Box Hill. That was brilliant.
Jacoma kicking in, or punched back well by Brewer to Bredner, creates a goal opportunity, takes his time. Which foot do I kick it with? The left.
Go, he got it.
Field umpire says it's a behind.
No,
Goal umpire
he
says it's the field umpire's running in with the one hand.
I see. Well, the goal umpire took precedence, and wasn't that a good punch, Phil? Here it is again. We'll watch the punch by the Box Hill player.
Well, look, these kick-ins, you see, he's come off the zone defence there, banged it into play, and Brebner says, gee, just slips onto the left foot. I tell you what, AFL scouts look at that, they'd say, this boy's got a bit of class. He was on the right, then he just slipped it onto the left, easy as you like. And the field umpire, I don't know what he was saying. Clinton, he might have been sending a cheerio to someone.
Danger signs for the Borough now. They're down by 21 points. Rowe goes to ground. Caught by a couple, shovels it out. Taken by Felino. Port must get the next goal. Sent out very wide by Sexton. There is the scoreboard in the background. Not a pretty tale for Port supporters at this stage with Box Hill. They've kicked 4 goals in 7 minutes to lead by 21 points. They've won on this ground just once this season. There's Matthew Collins, the young 19-year-old from the TAC Cup last season, played all 11 matches for Port. This is number 12, wins it down there. No one was waiting at the fall except for Robinson of Box Hill. Handball knocked away, Paccioni caught. Good tackle, Allsop, loose ball. Gathered by Robinson, just shovels it out. Slater likewise. Holland. Oh, he lost his footing at the inopportune time. Baumgartner was there. Now, Felino squares it up. Oh, is it paid? Good mark. Taken by Baumgartner.
Gee, they're fiddling Port Melbourne, aren't they? They're just not getting enough numbers around the ball, and therefore they're not running in clusters, whereas Box Hill are, Clinton.
So, Baumgartner with 12 goals this season for Port. Places him 4th on their goal-kicking list. Kick from just outside the 50. And Box Hill have plenty of players back there. Your made it sound like it wasn't good, Rob.
No, I thought it was going to get the distance, but at the angle was deceptive.
God, put those glasses on properly, will you? I mean, God,
straight.
There's no chance it was going to make it.
Oh, there was a neat kick off the boot. Disney.
Yeah. Don't mention the war.
No, Crowley. See, Alan Linder, who wrote to us, was in the Green Guide this week, Phil. But we get all the big letter writers. Here's Holland.
We're pretty sure his letter was wrong. The one he sent in last week to us, that is.
Pugsley, Sikora, the Box Hill Mustangs to half forward. Brebner flies. Who's at the fall? Fan's done pretty well again for the Borough. Little chip out to Felino. Plenty of time. No one within 10 metres. Oh, he put it high, but it's all Port. They're a bit rattled. And a spoil on Collins is an infringement, says the umpire.
Collins will send Port forward, go short and wide, but that's okay. Has Cloesy. No one comes to him, so he could have kept going. Chips towards the lead. Schaefer was there, still with Cloesy. Now, is that going to be downfield?
Yes.
It will be a certain goal for Port. Cloesy met too late, too heavily, and Paccioni will be the man to get the goal.
He's a gutsy player, Cloesy. He's a left footer, of course. He followed up that from the pass and banged it on the right. And what do you make of that?
How was that shepherd from Dwayne? That was sensational. I don't know whether we can see that again as Paccioni kicks the goal to end the 4 straight goal run from the Mustangs. So that's certainly something that Port needed. We've gone 17 minutes and they're back within 14 points.
I saw something funny there, Phil, when
Watch this Shepherd again, by the way, from Dwayne coming off screen. Now, Dwayne comes from the right of screen and says, see you later.
Yeah, against his former teammates. That's probably why. Now,
clumsy tackle.
Slater gives the ball. Baumgartner ran in to claim the free kick, but Slater said, no, it's not yours. I'll give it to Pacciani. Perhaps he felt Pacciani was more likely to miss. It was very funny. We saw Slater smiling. He enjoys his football. He's having a good year, and he beautifully won that tap. High tackle missed by the umpire, I reckon. Box Hill fans didn't.
Lost a bit in the translating that story, but nevertheless, I'm with you.
Funny at the time.
You had to be there, Phil. 16-point lead for Brisbane at the MCG over the Kangaroos. 8-3 to 5-5 while at Waverley. St Kilda not kicking straight but holding on against Richmond.
Yep, you're more interesting with the students out at Monos.
Goodale came up with a muddy face and kicked it at Baumgartner. Too far out to score. We learned that from the last kick from this angle. Nice lead from Scott Dwayne. Centering kick. Who's the target? Sexton has to spoil at the back. Allsop, who's got the job on Pacciani. Nice little give to McCormick. Oh, clever, but not quite far enough. Marked right on the line by Andrew Nicol. Schaefer will be called back a couple of metres.
Through those posts.
Through the post. God almighty.
He's a traffic policeman on Burke Street by day and during the week.
Not much traffic in Burke Street.
Nicol. Good mark. Strong overhead. Brett Rose played well today. Now, delivers towards Crowley. He's third in line. Will do the roving here. Port, though, should get it first. Taken by Halpin. Sees the lead coming out. Oh, he was way off the mark. Way off the mark. Jenkins to Brewer. Hand pass. This is where they look good. Pugsley. Kick smothered. Great work by Port. Halpin now hovering over it. Had to get rid of it. Felino's been impressive. Handball astray. And Rowe. There he is again. He could be driving home in the car. Kick towards half forward. Tranquilly. Oh, he should have taken that in the end. Not quite. Port to clear it away.
Yes, Rose had 18 possessions already. He certainly may. Here's Sharp, who was caused that great smother a minute ago. Brebner holding a man aside his man, but it allowed Fan in. Wobbly kick to half forward. Okay, because Sexton was in front. One step and a kick. Looking for Schaefer, but Nicol was there. Slater going the wrong way.
Oh, my goodness gracious me.
I thought I'd lost it for a minute there. I couldn't work out what was going on. I felt very confused, Phil.
Well, what happened, you couldn't quite see it on the screen, Ross. He would have had to come out towards us. That's out where you can see we're coming from here. He had no player there, so he just decided to kick a score.
Rush behind, Clinton.
I'm tempted to write it down as a behind for Slater, to be honest. I hope they don't lose by a point. Here's a go for Port. Ball taken by Baumgartner. Kicks to the square. Off hands. They'll concede another behind. That's the third rushed behind this term. Going Port Melbourne's way. Conceded by the Mustangs. So the margin just tightening up now. 12 points the difference. It was 21 7 or 8 minutes ago. We're in time on by 30 seconds.
High ball. It won't get to Slater. Nichols there. Good spoil. Schaefer. Brett Rowe thrown off the ball. And that was another high tackle. This time Robinson's won a free kick. Hooray, says someone on the terraces. They don't forget easily. Yeah. Halpin got him a little high. Ball now centre wing in the hands of Brewer. Good adept at either foot. Sharp beat Pugsley. Brebner perhaps could have put more pressure on. Slater there, a contest with Collins. Robinson. Haberfield. Now Brett Rowe, ball on a string to Pugsley. Got a man
Inside,
in board. Good Ray. Good delivery. Good running by Brewer. Now what's the umpire said? A trip?
It paid as an accidental trip,
50.
but a 50-metre.
So it must be a deliberate trip.
Well, it's a deliberate trip. Well, what's the report is if a deliberate by foot?
Here it is.
Oh, dear me.
Did he touch him?
No, I think it was just
Dear me.
I mean, it cost a certain goal.
Well, look, yeah, the picture told the story. There was no trip there.
Well, Brewer tripped over himself.
Well, yeah, but that's not a trip.
No. Well, this is costly. The margin is 12 points. 2 goals, and this will make it 3. He couldn't miss from here. He doesn't.
Just clarify this, accidental trip, 50 metres. Accidental trip. A trip isn't always 50 metres, though, is it?
No, it's got to be called deliberate.
Deliberate trip.
Here it comes again. Let's have a look at it again. Now, it goes against McCormick. Now, who does he trip him? No,
Brewer
trips himself and gets a goal out of it.
50-metre penalty. Of course, deliberate trip by foot, you get reported. On that occasion, he's ruled a trip and given a 50-metre, and it wasn't a trip.
Yeah.
Well done to the Port Melbourne players for not really losing their focus. There's been a report, by the way, as I see one of the field umpires putting his pen in his book, so he might have reported poor Luke McCormick. So we better tell Luke at half-time, Ross, that he's okay, because the video replay says that he's absolutely in the clear.
Phil can write a reference. Here's Henderson.
Oh, God, he'll get 3.
Up to half forward, chasing it. Here's Disney. He's had a productive afternoon. Little kick towards Crowley. Use the body. Now in support. Oh, nice swerve out of trouble by McCarroll. But out on the full.
And I think all deliberate trips are reportable, aren't they?
By hand, yes.
An accidental trip by foot is still 50 metres. I think that's right. But, I mean, all deliberate trips are reportable, and that would be the reason for the report.
Henderson's gone to Hollow, gone to Halpin. Clinton's gone for the rule book. Up to half forward. Fisted away. At the fall of the ball, Baumgartner and Robinson. Will he be grabbed round the neck? He does the tackling. Fan wheels back on it. Nickel goes off the ground. Still in play on centre wing. It's going to stay in. Looking for the ball was Foligno. Brebner, they've won it. They're making something out of nothing, the Mustangs. Brewer, he didn't fall that time. Good pass to Pugsley at half forward. Pugsley, go on.
Kicks inside 50. Tranquilli takes the mark. He will line them up from 45 metres out. The rulebook says where a free kick is awarded for intentionally tripping, a 50-metre penalty shall automatically apply. So if the umpire believes it was an intentional trip, a 50 applies. If it's an accidental trip, there's no 50-metre.
But the report issue is, when does it become a report?
We'll get to that page as Tranquilli lines them up. He's already kicked a couple, and this would be for a very handy 4-goal lead in the shadows of half-time. Andrew Tranquilli, it's a wobbly old kick, but it's effective. He's got 3. He's been a target for them up forward. And Box Hill's march continues as they lead by 4 goals. 25 minutes into the second term.
Yes, well, they are playing well. Port, by contrast, just can't get the system right. They're all over the place. They're spread out. Can't find the targets. Schaefer's all right. Sexton started all right. But they're a bit lean in that midfield.
Yes, exactly, Phil. Which is usually so good for the Borough, but they're down today. I think they were worried about it coming into the match. Here's no chance. So I thought it might have been a high tackle against Holland from O'Neill, but umpire said no. Umpire David Ackland. They've had a washing difficulty, the umpires, and David Ackland usually wears 12, 36 today. Hollow attacks it hard, spears it to half forward. O'Neill off his hands. Allsop in front of his man was good as a mark travelled 10 metres to Disney. Disney in the muddy centre, wide to Brebner, who's found space. Outside him is Brett Rowe. Gee, nearly 20 possessions in the half of footy. Great effort up to Pugsley, tight on the boundary line. Centering kick is good. Oh, but Henderson read it well.
26 minutes gone, second term. Box Hill 8th on the ladder, leading by 4 goals against the top of the ladder, Port Melbourne. The mark for Collins and 50. So here it is. Wow. Collins will send Port deep into attack. Just pops it up. Sexton coming out. Got it. Should be a genuine chance to goal from here. Great view of this. And Sexton leads out. That's beautiful stuff. Hear the background there. The umpire talking about the 50-metre penalty.
You calling me a lady
Don't go.
there?
I got you. Don't go.
Definite 50-metre penalty, the umpire said. It looked dubious. Sexton's kicked one. 27 minutes gone. And he should get his second, he will. Good kick. They needed that just to steady up before the half-time siren. Gets them back within 3 goals.
Well, Phil's gone quiet with a good book to read.
It's terrific.
But it's interesting, the rule with Sexton kicks, because it says tripping or attempting to trip an opponent by hand, foot or leg. That doesn't say anything about whether it's intentional or not. If you trip someone over, according to that, that's reportable. But surely there has to be an intent. And the point is, when it is intentional, it's a 50-metre. The umpire ruled that that was an intentional trip, and therefore it follows that it would have to be reportable as well.
Okay, well explained, Phil. Nice and concise.
Thank you very much. Still don't follow it.
28 minutes gone, close to half-time. The Box Hill Mustangs go again. Brett Rowe receives a hand pass from Crowley, puts it right into the square, but just wide. Chief, Paul, how many possessions for Brett Rowe in the half? He's had a blinder. 23, 15 and 8. What an inclusion for the Mustangs.
A 6-goal-to-3 quarter so far by the Mustangs. As you see, Jacoma to bring it back into play. He's kicked to a risky situation because Rowe was there. He couldn't take it. Foligno does, and Porter away. Now, Foligno could have kept going. Decides to go to Sexton. Reaches him on the bounce. If he can get rid of Holland, he's a chance. He does. Decides to square things up. Cloesy, good mark. Time running out. Must go quickly. Chips it over the top. That's okay. O'Neill kicks to full forward. And Disney went too soon. Man waiting down. Baumgartner throw in. 29 minutes gone, second term. Bev's got a big halftime show coming up. Donald McDONALD, the Werribee coach, will be in the studio to chat about other things. The potential Collingwood coaching job. He's put his hand up as well. 19-point margin. Throw in. Can Port squeeze a late goal? Good tackle applied on Dwayne. Ball spills out. Paccioni gets it out. Foligno. Can he find space? He does.
Done.
Craig Foligno kicks. Misses out to the right. No! It floats back and he's kicked a great goal.
Yes!
Terrific kick. Craig Foligno. I agree with Ross now. It's deceptive looking to that end. It floated out wide, Ross, and somehow came back in this howling gale. And have a look at this. Just what the doctor ordered. Craig Foligno just got rid of Rowe in time. Look at the kick and bends it back.
That little zephyr from over the top of the Box Hill change room there just collected that football, Ross.
Must be close to half-time. How long, Clinton? You usually get these right, McCormick. No.
Got less than 35 seconds, I reckon.
And we're going to professional timekeepers next year. The days of clubs having honorary timekeepers are over.
Yeah, in the AFL.
Paying them $200 each an afternoon, which is $400 per game, multiplied by 8, $3,200 a weekend, up just on $70,000 for the season.
Time running away.
Given that most of them are pensioners, they'll enjoy the dough.
McCormick gets the bar up towards Sexton. Oh. Didn't grab it. Here's Baumgartner. Oh, Brebner chips in. He's held, and he'll get a free. Wasn't released. Advantage paid to Disney. Out to Brett Rowe. Oh, just the siren robbed him of another mark. He's had a brilliant turn, and he's been instrumental in giving the Mustangs that 13-point lead at halftime in this round 13 match.
Pretty entertaining first half of football here at the Box Hill City Oval. Glad we're here for the match of the round. And the home team, they may be 8th on the ladder, but they're playing for their season today. They will be officially gone if they can't win this one. Port, on the other hand, on top. And as we heard from Darren Crocker at quarter time, they struggle sometimes when they head away from TAC Oval. Half-time, Box Hill by 13 points. Andrew Tranquilli on your screen there, the leading goal kicker with 3 so far. Phil, your impressions before we head back to Bev?
Well, my impressions are that Port Melbourne will need to play a lot better if they're to be a Fettingham force in the finals. They are a bit stretched at the moment. They're not smooth. They're not linking up well enough in the midfield, and they're just struggling a bit in that forward half, although Sexton's been a bit in and out. Schaefer looks good, but they're not quite getting the ball down to him. and maybe the conditions are just not allowing for them to play the fluent sort of game that they'd like to. But Box Hill, as we said, nothing to lose, so they're pretty relaxed about the day, I would think. I mean, when you say nothing to lose, if they lose, they're probably out of the finals race, but they're sort of all or nothing here. Tranquilly doing well. Crowley's been in amongst it. A neat kicker of the football. Do we think or not? Who knows? We'll talk about that later. A very interesting second half we're going to have here, without a shadow of a doubt.
13 points the margin at half-time. Box Hill in control. There are the details. 8-6 to 6-5, 54 to 41. Bev, pretty good game for our match of the round.
Indeed. Thanks, Clinton. Let's get to the AFL matches underway this afternoon. And first up, the Kangaroos, 6 goals, 8-44. Kerry McKernan, Durkay, Abraham Belshol, all single goal kickers for the Kangaroos. And for Brisbane, 9 goals for 58. Jared Malloy has 3, Richard Champion 2, Ackermanis, Keating, Black, McRae 1 each for Brisbane. For the Saints, there we see 4 goals, 12-36, a very tight match against Richmond. 5 goals, 5-35. Plapp and Richardson with 2 Knights, 1 for the Saints. Hall, McLaren, Jones and Thompson 1 each. Other VFL matches being played today. Preston Knights, 4 goals, 2-26, being walloped by Sandy, 11 goals, 2-68. And in our other match, 1-11-17 to Springvale, 6-4-40 to Bendigo. A bit of a surprise there this afternoon. Now to the running of the first 4 events on the card at Flemington. Let's take a look at race 1.
Around the neck as they jump it. In behind the Mexican Sage, Palace Symphony on the outside, and they get away to Ben Dansari and Gentleman Jack as they come around the home turn. And the Rumour Guy stays close to the inside to save some ground. Comes towards the second last fence with around the neck the challenger. Here's the next fence now. It's the second last. The Rumour Guy just in front of around the neck, finishing determinedly. Then Just Dynamite on the baldy face Palace Symphony from Mexican Sage. At the last one now, and around the neck takes the lead. Around the neck the leader from the Rumour Guy. Palace Symphony is starting to come home well. It's around the neck on the outside in front of the Rumour Guy, closer to the middle, and Palace Symphony on the outside. It's around the neck in front, 100 metres to go. Palace Symphony's coming at him. Palace Symphony is coming home the better, takes the lead, and Palace Symphony finds his form and wins it from around the neck, and the Rumour Guy is third.
So Palace Symphony from around the neck, and the Rumour Guy, Gentleman Jack, the unplaced favourite. Here's race 2.
Metres, it's Palace Glow in front of Emotional Success. The Grey Lady Julie right behind the leader now. Shirley's Toy deeper out. Love's Choice in the centre, and then Honquok Spirit next to last. And Something's Felt is last of all. They're heading now to the 400 metres. Palace Glow is the leader. Lady Julie is trying for a rouse run with Emotional Success outside the leader. Clear then of Honquok Spirit coming home. Shirley's Toy dropped out of it. Something's Felt down the outside. They're across the track at the 200 metres. Lady Julie squeezing up. Emotional Success and Love's Choice. Palace Glow dropped out of it. It's now Love's Choice with Something's Felt swapping them 100 out. Something's Felt getting up to Love's Choice. Emotional Success. They hit the line, and Something's Felt just what I'd say from Love's Choice. Third is Emotional Success in front of...
It's a very tight finish, and the winner, Something's Felt, coming back from a spell, so it's first win. Lady Julie, the unplaced favourite. Here's race 3.
The Spunk is second, putting it to the leader now, and they get away 5 lengths. Dursilla before the home turn. Raging Storm still improving on the outside, followed then by Crash and Macaulay. Chiming Door is starting its run. Then came Couch a Toe under the whip, trailed by Hedeman and Eldelar. Into the straight below the 500, Lahim in front of the Spunk. The margin to the third horse, Crash and Macaulay, now about 3 lengths. Behind those is Chiming Door sticking to the rails as they came to the 300, and Lahim's away and leads by about 3. Crash and Macaulay getting up to second now. The Spunk has had enough. Chiming Door running on fairly inside the 2. It's Lahim in front of Crash and Macaulay, who's eased off the heels and coming. Lahim from Crash and Macaulay, who's going home the better. Crasher takes the lead, and Crash and Macaulay goes on to beat Lahim by more than a length. Chiming Door third, then Rage.
And 2 wins for 2 starts for Crasher Macaulay from Lahim and Chiming Door. Lahim starting as the favourite. Here's race 4.
With his run around them. Noble Ben Barra's running on 2. Centrix has gone for home with 2 to jump. Inside the 600 now, and it's Centrix by more than 2. Marlborough chases him home from jail. Then came Noble Ben Barra, pulled to the outside, and Vautinska's running on. Down towards the 400 now. Centrix in front with Marlborough getting up on his inside to tackle him. They jump it virtually on terms. Marlborough perhaps coming home the better from Centrix. 3 lengths away is Vautinska, Noble Ben Barra. Marlborough at the last put in a beauty, and he leads by 2.5. Looked home Marlborough now from Centrix, and then Noble Ben Barra, but it's Marlborough clear. Genius Jim is going to do it again. He and Craig Durden have dominated the jump scene and they take the national. Marlborough magnificently by more than 4. Centric second, Noble Benbara third.
So the favourite very convincingly winning the feature race today from Centrix and Noble Benbara. Despite the chilly conditions this week, snowfall has been at a minimum on the Victorian snowfields. At Mount Buller, the weather is clear with skiing and boarding fair on a fair cover of firm packed snow. 8 of 25 lifts are open. Roads are also open and clear. Falls Creek is the pick of the resorts this weekend with the weather clear and skiing and boarding good on a good cover of icy snow. 13 of 18 lifts are open, roads also open and clear. Mount Hotham is overcast with skiing and boarding fair on a poor cover of icy snow. Only 8 of 13 lifts in operation. The roads are open with some ice patches, so be careful there. Mount Baw is clear and the mountain is closed to skiing and boarding with a poor cover of icy snow. No lifts are open, but roads are open and clear. And finally to Mount Buffalo. The weather is clear, skiing and boarding is fair on a poor cover of softening snow. 2 of 7 lifts are open with roads also open and clear. Stolen goods are often retrieved by police following break-ins. Peter G caught up with Senior Constable Matthew Gilday, who had some ways for owners to ensure that goods could be returned to them.
200 I have now on the left-hand side there, at 220 bid.
Every Monday morning here at Fowles Auction Group in Port Melbourne, this happens. Property which the police have recovered but which hasn't been properly identified goes under the hammer.
300.
Matthew, what's the best way to make sure your property doesn't end up in here?
Peter, the best way is to mark your property for identification. Unfortunately, a lot of the property that comes into possession of police isn't marked correctly, and so we can't return it to its proper owner, and so it ends up coming down here and sold at public auction.
So how do they go about marking that property up?
There's a number of various methods. We promote what is called Operation Identification. It's one of the strategies of the Neighbourhood Watch program. We recommend you engrave or mark your property with your driver's licence number with the letter V in front for Victoria.
Why the driver's licence number, Matt?
Well, Peter, Victoria Police have 24-hour access to Vic Road records. So, for example, if a police officer checks a person who has a VCR or a television which has been marked, they can quickly check that driver's licence number against Vic Road records to see who is supposed to have possession of that property. Also, a driver's licence number is only ever issued once. So your particular driver's licence number is never issued a second time if, for example, you hand your licence in or if it was disqualified.
At 125 over this one here, done and sold at 125.
So it's a discipline thing, isn't it? When we buy a new product, before we pull it out of the box almost, get the number on it and...
The number on it.
And what, and just put it on a sheet of paper? Or?
Well, what you can do to complement the marking of your properties is to keep an inventory form which should have on it model, make, brand and serial number. So if you are broken into or your property is lost, when you report it to the police, they can take down a detailed description of the item, and that helps us to cross-reference it on our database so we can have a greater chance of, if it is recovered, returning it to you. Forms such as this one, which is a valuable property record, very simple, as I said, just a few basic details. Keep it in a separate place in a filing cabinet so you always have a ready reference if unfortunately you are broken into.
All right, that's something people can be doing over the next week, but next Saturday afternoon you're physically going to show us how to go about marking up your property.
Next Saturday we'll show you some products that you can use to mark your property and just give people an idea of where they can get those products from.
Well, the Werribee Club is sporting a new corporate look and it seems to be delivering results on the ground too, with coach Donald McDonald's boys enjoying #1 spot on the ladder, sharing them, of course, with Port Melbourne. And it's always a great pleasure to have him in the studio with us, but you might not recognise him this afternoon because he's sporting a far more casual look. Lovely to see you, Donald.
No worries, Bev. Nice to be here.
One of your junior trainees with you.
Yes, I've got Luke.
Is he a future Werribee player?
Well, I don't know. If he qualifies father and son rule with Werribee and North, so we'll see how he goes.
Now, it's been interesting over the last couple of years. A couple of the teams have been adopting a more corporate look, a sort of more professional look, and Werribee have really taken it on, and you've even got the jacket and tie when you go onto the field.
Yeah, well, I think they footy club's trying to do something to make me look a little bit better, Bev. But no, I think we've, I suppose Sandringham introduced it a few years ago when they had, you know, Andy Collins wearing a shirt and tie, and Jared Fitzgerald looks very nice for
always very smart.
North Ballarat, and you know they've got a very professional look. So our board members and the match committee this year have decided to try and, if you can't be good on the field, at least look good off the field. So, well, but I mean, no, we've been doing it.
And you've been proving very successful. You're having a really good year this year.
Yeah, it's been, I suppose, a little bit different than last year. I mean, last year we went through the season and we won games pretty convincingly. I think this year we've won 6 games by maybe 8 points or less. So it's been a bit nerve-wracking in the box, but it's good. You know, we're in the top 2 at the moment.
But that's a really crucial point for them to learn to win tight, close games, because in some cases over the final series, that's often where perhaps you've fallen apart a bit.
Yeah, and I suppose that pressure that they're going to experience in the last 5 or 10 minutes of a close match probably conditions you a little bit for finals matches. And yeah, I think that it's in the long run it might be a good thing for us.
So how are you feeling this season compared to, say, last season?
Oh, I suppose last season we probably didn't have great expectations at the start of the season. We had a lot of new guys in, and you know they just really played well, and we stormed into the finals and won both finals convincingly. And then I think we came up against an experienced Springvale side that really, you know, were fantastic on the day.
Just coming into form.
Yeah, and you know I think their experience was good. Whereas this year, you know, we've lost a few players with Joskin and the 2 Gowans boys that have been big losses for us, but we've hung in there, which has been a good thing for us. And hopefully when we get to the finals, you know, we'll acquit ourselves well.
Yeah. Now, give me your thoughts on the direction the VFL is taking the association. There's certainly been a lot of talk about future plans with the AFL.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about it?
I think it's an exciting thing for the competition as long as it's done well. I think that, you know, Ken Gannon and the boys in the VFL have really pushed the VFL's cause, and I think the future of Victorian football's, you know, very important. The AFL's put a lot of money into the other states, so you know, I suppose for clubs like Werribee, I mean, that's who we've really, you know, that's who I'm focusing on. And I think it presents a good challenge for us. You know, we've spoke to a couple of AFL clubs. Geelong weren't really interested. The Western Bulldogs have expressed a bit of interest. So,
do you think the AFL clubs will take up this option, will sort of start linking up with the VFL side?
I think you find initially, Bev, that the AFL clubs will probably go it alone. You know, I suppose if there's 10, say, Melbourne-based clubs, probably 7 or 8 of them will probably definitely go alone, and a few of them might have, you know, a feeder club. But I think long term, I think you'll find that they'll all probably have a feeder club like Werribee or the Western Bulldogs, because I think financially it's just going to get a bit tough for them.
It's interesting, we were talking about this, about how the AFL has tactically changed its direction a little in terms of trying to get the mergers, trying to get a lot of the Melbourne clubs to come together. But with the new salary cap, it's going to force a lot of clubs out of business.
Yeah, I think you'll find with the increased salary caps and the demand on clubs to find extra finances that, you know, I think they're going to be looking for every cut they can make. So this might be a godsend for Victorian, you know, AFL-based clubs. So who knows? And
the VFL too. I mean, it's interesting because it has to continually reinvent itself and find new support because the AFL has really grown so exponentially. Do you think this is the way ahead? It's the right strategy? Oh, look, I think there's a definite market there for a Victorian statewide competition as long as it's quality, it's well presented. I think, you know, like Channel 2 does a fantastic job with the match of the day, and I think that with, I suppose, a bit more exposure, and, you know, like a Werribee might play a Collingwood at Chirnside Park, I think that thing will be attractive. I think you'll find it'll be an exciting competition and a step in the right direction for the VFL. Well, if young Luke's not going to make it on the football field, Phil, I think he'd be a commentator. He seems to be totally comfortable in front of the cameras here.
Well, and he's put his hand up for the Collingwood job. Is that correct, Donald? It's all happening out there. The Scottish Parliament arrives and you want to coach Collingwood.
No, I don't think there's... a bloke rang me from Inside Football and he just said, would I be interested? And I think my main answer was, look, pal, I just want to concentrate on coaching Werribee to a victory this week. So, no, Phil, I'm happy in the VFL, and if an opportunity arose down the track, obviously, you know, you'd look at it.
And what about last week? You got a hiding from Springvale. Is that a worry for you after last year, and things different for Werribee with the finals approaching? Oh, look, I definitely think that Springvale are a very good side, you know, and I think the competition's very
competitive this year. I mean, like, you only have to look at today's game. There's probably 7 or 8 sides that are in it this year. And look, we're happy to be sitting up there in second spot. We've got a tough game tomorrow against Frankston. And, you know, I suppose we'll worry about Springvale next time we play them, mate.
And it's been very good. Your language this year's been absolutely beautiful. You've obviously been doing a bit of studying.
I think what I've tried to do is not talk too much at all, Phil. I mean, the least I talk, the least chance I've got of swearing. I think that's it.
It's a trick, isn't it, for we blokes who like to throw the expletive around. But it's been great, Donald. You're doing a good job. I think we'll have a great final series.
Yeah, I think the VFL and the public can look forward to a really good final series. I mean, any of the 6 sides that happen to make it will be a chance this year.
Good on you.
I liked the last time you went out, we were waiting for you in the huddle and you didn't say anything for ages, and we thought we were waiting expectantly as you studied the board, and then finally the words of wisdom came out. Donald, great to see you as always, and good luck with the rest of the series, the competition.
Thanks, Bev. Thanks for putting up with the young bloke.
Young Luke's going somewhere very close to a name like yours. Fellas, let's go. Before we come back to you, let's just update the halftime scores in the AFL. And the Kangaroos, 6 goals, 8-44 to the Lions, 11 goals, 4-70. So a pretty one-sided affair this afternoon. It looks like the Kangaroos' winning streak might be over. And the Saints, 4-12-36 to Richmond, 5 goals, 5-35. Let's hope our commentary team have been fed and watered this afternoon for a very fiery second half.
Scones we've had, Bev. We've had the lot. Discussing the rules. We've read the rule book. I tell you what, it is all happening here, Donald, believe me.
And Donald, no doubt, very happy with Box Hill leading Port Melbourne at this stage by 13 points. Werribee and Port Melbourne both with 9 wins and 2 defeats. So Werribee a chance to take top spot tomorrow should Port fall over here this afternoon. And what about the chance of Box Hill winning today? They've looked very good across the first half. Port got a couple of late goals. Felino snapped there at the 30-minute mark. Absolutely crucial as we check some of the highlights from the second quarter. What an entertaining quarter. Box Hill kicking 6 goals, 2. Port kicking 4 goals, 3. And it's 13 points on the scoreboard, but it's a line ball game at half-time.
Yes, look, Clinton, you know, I reckon the one major difference between the two sides is that Box Hill have linked up better in the midfield. It's funny, you know, they've found the corridor better than Port Melbourne has. And I think, I was going to say Donald, but Darren Crocker, of course, an old teammate of Donald's from out at North Melbourne. God, that was amazing. But and Brett Tranquilli there taking that, and you could go forever on about the rule of that, but the umpire, I think, thought there was a question of advantage having been paid and the player making that presumption, and the umpire, I think, correctly there.
Well, OK. We saw Rose set that up. He had 24 possessions in the first half, 16 kicks, 8 handballs. That'd do a lot of people for a game.
Well, and he's been one of those players who has been in that midfield, as you see, Cameron Crowley, who was wobbling the ball today, slipped one through. But again, those midfielders, look at this, just see where this ball ends up. See, midfield. That just sums
Crowley,
it up, doesn't it?
Right. Gets it
and then into that midfield again. They go out slightly. But that's when it fell down
6 or 7 handballs.
But they still ended up getting the goal. And I would like to see them do. I think that's the way to play. Port Adelaide last night, didn't they use the ball a lot?
Look at the handballs, 50 to 20 handballs at half-time. That's staggering discrepancy.
And that reflects too something that Darren Crocker said, didn't he? He said they'll play their sort of game, hold the ball off you, and you're not in there tackling. And see, Port's tackles and pressure's been down because Box Hill are moving the ball around a lot by hand and by foot, and they are still getting in the corridor. And so Port can't exert the pressure. And it's true, Clinton, in these games, where you really need to get your blokes doing the hard things, you know, the tackle. I know it sounds cliche, but that's where it all starts, and then it opens up for the forwards.
If you had to make a selection at this point, who would you back from here?
Oh, I think Box Hill can get home, but then again, the psychological side of it, Port Melbourne knows they've got to really go for, full tilt now. So it's a line baller. Box Hill are good enough to win it. Let's say that much.
Any structural changes do you think Darren Crocker will make? We've seen that he's rotated Schaefer and Collins at full forward and in the ruck. Sexton's having to come along way down to get his kicks. They're just scrambling some goals at times.
Well, I don't know whether they can do a lot about that. You really need Sexton. Schaefer, you can move him around, and maybe with Collins, but it's really those midfielders and the halfbacks. They've got to get some run out of there. That's where they're falling down. It's just a matter of juggling those players, I think.
Ross Booth has, I think, checked in with the umpires about that controversial trip during the second quarter. Ross, what else did you glean during the half-time break?
Yes, there's no doubt about it. The VFL umpires are warm and friendly. I went into the inner sanctum, spoke to the umpire, Michael Forbes, and he has reported, I think it was Felino, was it, for deliberately, intentionally tripping Matthew Brewer. And so there are also guidelines, Phil, that their umpires are issued with further to the rules. So the umpire, Michael Forbes, believed that, I think it was Foligno, intentionally tried to trip Brewer and hence reported him. But I said, well, you'll have an interesting view of the videotape.
It was actually McCormick.
McCormick, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
But that clarifies it.
Yeah.
It is the question of intent, and if it is intentional, then it becomes a report. So that's, you know, pretty clear there. The umpire thought it was intentional. We were offside. Go on, Ross, sorry.
Yeah, that's right, even though the rules don't specifically say that, there are further guidelines and directions from the umpire's advisor.
Well, it was good that we picked out that the rule book needs a little bit of rewriting, and we might help them rewrite that rule book with a bit of clarity, Ross.
We can both be bush lawyers, Phil.
And anything from the rooms, Ross, of
yes,
note?
Unfortunately, Dean Grace of Box Hill has injured his knee, had a knee reconstruction last year. Don't know how serious it is, but definitely won't be back today.
It's a shame for the Mustangs. Thanks, Ross. Box Hill to the left of screen to start. There's Rowe again. That's possession number 25. Box Hill go forward. Tranquilly caught out off the scene.
I see you've got the keys in his hands already, Clinton. You're the octaves up.
Chacoma should be able to clear. Also for Box Hill, Crowley with 18 touches across the first half. Box Hill come up with it again. McCormack with 14 kicks for Port. Henderson's had 15 possessions. Here's Rowe again. He's got the car, surely.
Oh!
Look at that. Fines not on the chest, and in the opening minute, Box Hill should get the goal to start the second half. Great disposal. It's all right getting the ball enough, Phil. You've got to do something with it. He has done something with it.
Well, when you ask me about the midfield, of course, it's obvious that they've got to stop him. We'll just try to look. We're a fair way. We're pretty low here, and it's not easy to pick up who's actually got whoever out there, but we'll see if we can find out.
Here's Knott for his second. Oh, bad miss. He'll be disappointed by that. 1 goal, 2 for Damien Knott. Just lets down that work done by the midfielders to get it to him. 14 points the margin. Box Hill, 8th on the ladder. Season on the line with this match. Port Melbourne first with 9 wins and 2 defeats. And next week, the Borough taking on Preston at home. Our game next week, Werribee and Williamstown, so we will see Donald McDonald's team in action. This is Hollow getting it off to Halpin. That's more direct. Straight down the middle. Sexton waiting in the wings, but getting in front and taking a good mark is Scott Dwayne. Now, will he have a look from 50? You would fancy that it'd be a good chance. Did well, a much stronger player than McCartney there. Just held him off nicely. He's got an extra 9 kilograms on McCartney and used them well there. So Scott Dwayne for the opening goal of the second half. It would mean the Borough have kicked the last 3, bracketing the half-time break. 49 metres out, gives it everything. No worries with the distance. The accuracy not there, it's a behind. Hope you're enjoying VFL round 13 action on your ABC throughout Victoria and southern New South Wales. Don't forget ABC Radio as all the AFL action tonight, West Coast and Melbourne from 8:30. Good chip inside. Nichol misses the target. Hammerfield, look out. That was tough. Piccioni off the ground. Over the boundary line for a throw-in. Left forward pocket. With a name like Piccioni, Phil, you might say that he grew up playing soccer in Italy.
You might, but I wouldn't, because I'd probably get a letter.
Yes.
We're not holding in the right.
Box Hill by 13 points. There is Piccioni. And that trip causing great debate at half-time among our team here as well. From the throw-in, Port pressing, Slater from behind. Collins won it down. Dwayne running out of room. Keeps it in play nicely. This is good. This is Martin going the wrong way, but a chance. Can he find a teammate? Not really. Punched away by Allsop. He'll get it back. He's caught by Cameron. Throw-in.
I've just arrived back from that long walk around there. Clinton, I don't know if you realise, but in the first quarter you unconsciously called Piccioni Al Pacino, not Al, but Pacino. So there was an Italian link in your mind.
Thanks for bringing that up, Ross. Good on you. Throw in. Collins knocks it down. I think it's Collins.
They're all part of the family, aren't they?
That's right. That's right.
He gets it away. Now they're out of trouble. McCartney, no worries with his name. Kicks straight down the middle. Port should get there first. They've got a couple going towards it. Henderson and Goodale. Henderson wins the race. Now he stops, waits. He can have one of our coffees. We've got one left over. Decides to go quickly. Oh, now he stops. Puts Halpin under the pump. He drives it to centre half forward. No one home. Box Hill's got it.
Yes. Long walk around that boundary. It's pretty boggy too, but the ground holding up pretty well. Big Slater's there.
What are you calling for a sympathy vote?
I'll get none, I know. Brebner. Nice gather. Crowley. No tackle there, should have been. Punch towards the 50-metre line. It's all hollow, tranquilly. Bit late, no 50.
He's reported for charging. Is he?
Well,
he's reported him for charging.
That's... Well, there's a lot of things you could say about it, but you can understand, let's just say you can understand why... Yeah, he said I could really have hurt him if I wanted to. That's true, you could have, Andrew, but the problem is you were late. That's the problem, very late with the player, and the shoulder was dipped and he had taken the mark, Clinton. And
it's umpire Ackland, isn't it? I think it is.
It's got to be a 50-metre now, surely, unless he's ruled that he didn't actually have the ball marked.
No, he didn't have the mark. Didn't have the mark.
Didn't have the mark.
No. So 2 reports, McCormick and now Tranquilli, one either side.
The captain for the Borough goes wide, looking for Durling, finding him. Centre wing. Goes short, looking for Felino. Almost, not quite. Heavy traffic now. Allsop laying a tackle, diving on the top. And whistle a long time coming finally from umpire Forbes.
Now, Rowe is in there, Clinton, your man. You'll see him over there, number 31. He's got it back to us. It'll be interesting to see if anyone is picking him up, because I've been watching him the last few minutes. Yeah, there is.
Oh, no, but
has Halpin got the job on him?
Looks like it, doesn't it? There, Halpin 30. There he is. There, both of them in shot. But Rowe will come up with the ball. And I'm with Clinton. He's playing a blinder. Up to half forward. Knock forward. There's a tackle from Henderson. Brebner getting involved.
Play.
Crowley, no prior opportunity. Kick forward by Box Hill. Into the half there. Brewer can't make anything of it all. Port in trouble. Jacoma, where can I go, he says. And McCormick comes up with it all. Slews it towards the boundary line. Turnover. Kick back in by Disney. And finally, Sharp will come up with it. Brewer waiting for it. Goodale. Good tackle, Brewer.
Good tackle, no chance.
And a hectic moment in the match. 55-42. I don't know if she's cold or worried about the Mustangs.
Phil's pointing at someone at our monitor. We need a telestrator. Who are you pointing at?
Well,
Sterling wins it down.
Face down there.
Goodale's caught.
Ducked into the tackle. Let him up, let him up.
7 minutes gone, third term. Box Hill by 13 points. No goals as yet in this third term. Umpire Ackland. Good punch inside. Port there, hollow. Sharp. They're out of trouble. Short pass good for Halpin. Rowe stands the mark, so they are direct opponents. Good pass for Felino. Kicked a beauty on the stroke of half-time. Just sidesteps with ease. Gets around Holmes. Kicks towards Cameron. Or Dwayne. Ball punched away. Box Hill working hard, doing well. Sikora, good clean touch. Caught by Halpin. Good tackle. Advantage play on. McCormick finds an opening. On one bounce, goes to full forward. Dwayne coming out. Oh, and he's put Holland down. And that'll be a free kick without too much dispute.
It's interesting with that one you said was a good tackle, Clinton. The question still remains is, did he punch the ball away, Sikora? Anyway, on that occasion, you see that that was paid as high to Holland.
Holland's kicked 8 goals for them this season, which places him 4th on their goal-kicking table. They haven't had a lot, the Mustangs. He's now playing down back today. Ball wide on the grandstand wing. McCartney, Sharp, Durling. Now that's making no effort, McCartney.
Good decision.
Yep, no question there. Andrew Durling can set Port up. Getting dark here at Box Hill. It's getting tense too. Kick to half forward. Big leap. Collins couldn't take it. Crowley's played well. Now, what can they set up? Slater, sweeping handball out in front of Brewer. He's usually pretty clean with his disposal. This one back to Slater was good. Easy. Slater can go long. He's 55 out and closing. Long kick from Slater. Port back there in numbers. And the mark taken by Jacoma.
Jacoma switches play up to Social Club side. Halpin slips. Where's Rowe? There he is, bearing down Halpin. Under pressure too from Pugsley. Finds Collins, the ruckman, the youngster. Centre wing into half forward. Oh, bad kick. Holland.
Oh, good work. Good work.
Brebner through the sticky middle, up towards 30 metres out from goal. Hollow should have marked. Presence of mind to recover. Playing well, Phil.
Thought Tranquilli was coming at Tranquilli and then approached it differently, didn't he?
That's right. Couldn't hear the feet in the sloppy Box Hill Oval. Not that sloppy. It's been had a lot of work spent
Ken
on it.
Mansfield, the former Coburg player, just say, look out for the Indians. I don't know what that meant, but it meant something.
Couldn't say that now. Here's Fan. Kicking to half forward, inside 50. Almost to Cameron. Rowe. Pressure. Haberfield. Picks up. Thumps it onto his boot. All Box Hill 2-on-1. Over the top. Here's a go for Pugsley. Clowassy. Good side bump from Rowe. Pugsley around the corner. It's pretty intense. I think the Port midfield has lifted, obviously in response to Darren Crocker. They needed to. Haberfield grabbed it and kicked it quickly. Up to Holmes. Taking a while to pick it up. Now he's got it. Misses with a hand pass. They're making a meal of it, but they still got plenty of time. Back to Holmes. He kicks his second. Well, the shake of the head from Holmes. They were lucky to get away with it, but there wasn't much pressure, Phil, at all.
Oh, terrible, Ross. And Holmes there, we might have another look at it. He was unable to use his left hand. Let's see the handball here. It'll tell us a little story. I'm pretty sure just Holmes, he swings onto the left, and just watch this handball. No power in his left hand there. That is very, very interesting. I don't think it was just a matter of balance, but then he goes on, he snaps it on the left boot. But no pressure at all. Gee, I tell you what, Darren Crocker would be spitting chips, Clinton.
Couple of possessions on that passage of play for Holmes to boost the stats. Collins wins it down. Crowley says, I'll have it. Hurries a kick inside 50. Where are the Rovers? Goodale's caught. Likewise, Fan. That's caught. Gets it away. Oh, Holmes done it again. No, misses.
Oh, Fandangle there, Roscoe. And Holmes just about slipping it through. Gee whiz, they are under a bit of pressure. There's Holmes on screen. He's just slammed one through on the left boot, or floated one through on the left boot. He had an easy chance there, really.
Down the middle goes Giacomo. He's searching for Hollow, who was 1 of 4 went up. McCormick trying to lift. He's got the ball, worried out of it. Turned around by Knott. Here's Holmes having a presence and finds Pugsley within scoring distance.
Yeah, Pugsley there. Morticia would be very happy with that little piece of play, Roscoe.
Yes, he's on Richmond's sub list. Collingwood last year.
Kids with Fitzroy jumpers over there in that little piece of terrace number 3 there. I reckon I can spot's got a Fitzroy jumper on.
Sign him up for the Lions, Phil.
There's Fitzroy, Coburg Fitzroy Lions they're talking about.
20 points the difference, you can see. Tight. Pugsley going for his first.
Whoa. No.
Crowd didn't roar. They're right behind that. Margin out to 21.
We'll get a wriggle on the Borough. That's a good kick out, Ross. That's a good kick out.
Foligno towards Sexton at half forward. Good overhead. And proves that on that occasion. Now he's invited to play on straight from his line. Kicks towards the pocket. 2-on-2 contest. Good punch away from behind by Disney. Nicol heads for the boundary line. Throw it in on 50.
Gee, that forward line, it just lacks something, Clinton, doesn't it? And they ended up again. Look where that ball ended up after Sexton took the mark. In the pocket yet again.
Box
Can't
Hill.
score from there.
Box Hill by 21 points. Brewer and Goodale, you see, having a bit of a nudge. Short throw in. Slater gets it down. Crowley has won plenty of the ball today, no question of that, but that's often what he's done with it. Wobbly old kick, although that's not a bad option, all things considered. And it's over for a boundary throw in right beneath our broadcast position. We're on the outer wing at Box Hill City Oval. As you can see, the ground in pretty good nick, little heavy through the middle.
We've just knocked off about a dozen beautiful scones, courtesy of the Box Hill chef.
And 2 dozen sandwiches.
Oh, that was very nice, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Port went it down.
Got a name in the paper last time we were here.
McCormick, who was that?
No, the Box Hill ladies.
Oh, yes.
Nickel.
Kicks it up towards the wing. Brewer's got it now. Here go the Mustangs. Delivery towards half forward. Brebner waiting underneath it. Great work by Fan. He's got a couple of fans in the commentary box. Oh, he couldn't clean up there. And Brewer somehow has time to get up. Handball to Tranquilli. He's kicked 3. Number 4 coming up for Andrew Tranquilli. No.
Gee, that was all class by Andrew Tranquilli. It was a little bit of ballet work there, wasn't it, Roscoe? Tiptoeing through the tulips. We mentioned that last week with Mr. Burgomaster.
Yes, I heard you on 3LO. Sean Price saying there's a lot of similarities between ballet and football. And you didn't come back. It's a great show, the Peter Clark show on Monday nights. Crowley gives away the free to Clohessy. Wide ball to Jacoma. Sexton judged it nicely. Jenkins went underneath it. High ball. Oh, Dwayne has to change directions. Oh, almost plucked a good mark, but Tony was lurking, waiting for the crumbs. It didn't come. There's a free. Looking for it was Felino. Durling hasn't really got possession alone. Haberfield like a terrier.
Peter Van Blomstein, Phil. Is that the name you're looking for?
Phil, did you play football in the this decade? Because
Blomstein.
You and I and Martin Stillman, John Clarkson, Adrian Dunn are picking a team of the decade. That'll create lots of debate.
Oh, I've been left out of the voting again. Crowley, at centre-half back for the Mustangs.
You weren't born when the decade started.
Brebner's got the mark. Away they go. Kicks towards full forward. Doesn't reach the target. And Sharper's there. Goes short. Goodale's got it on half-back. 22 points the margin. Port just one behind in this third term. Oh, risky. Martin lost it. Brebner's got it. Throws it out. Pugsley towards Brewer. Didn't reach him. Goodale to Fan. He's caught. Brebner's got it again. He's caught. Good tackling. Durling. Oh, was that a nudge by Slater? Yes, it was. Hey. Free kick. Port's way. Collins. Just goes short. Saw a loose man in half forward. Sharp floating down from the back line.
He's all class Collins, isn't he?
Not like the sub.
Kicks to full forward. Sexton's a leaper. First grab, not the second rope by Dwayne. Here's a goal. Can Pachoni get it? No, he can't. And Box Hill clear through Allsop.
Jenkins chasing it with McCormick. It worries you, Phil, that you and I think alike sometimes.
Yeah. I think Clinton was calling that one there to Pachoni like a Collingwood supporter last night, wasn't he?
And there's Schaefer.
It didn't happen. Yes.
Looks like he's got a corky or two. He's on both
two legs. He's probably trying to maintain equilibrium there, Ross.
Maintain the balance, as well as his rage against the Mustangs, who lead by 22. Haberfield will win the free. McCormick, who's I think the midfield must have got a bit of a race from Darren Crocker.
Well, I think that's where they've really been struggling. I mentioned that. Clinton asked me at half-time, and I would have... That was the area, I think, really everything else is kind of right. There's not that much you can do. Maybe Hollow to the back. Well, Hollow is down in the back half anyway.
Yeah, and they certainly are going at it hard at that Port midfield, trying to lift. Late in the third quarter. Throw in front of those rowdy Mustang supporters, but they've got somebody to cheer about. They've had a great season.
Oh, they're very noisy.
They've come out to roar. Collins against Slater. Crowley. Another possession. Up to 20 for him. Good game of football. Jacoma chased. 24, in fact. Well, that's a good effort. And the umpire Forbes, he's in quickly to separate these two. Jacoma.
The umpires are in the game a lot today, Clinton, aren't they? I don't know what the stats are on free kicks, but it just seems like there's quite a few today.
16-11 in favour of the Borough. A report either way. A couple of 50 metres for the game as well. In fact, 3 Mustangs with 2, Port 1. There's a Jacoma. Downfield free. And another report. That's our third. Pachoni's had his number taken. He'd been having a running battle with Allsop in this game.
Well, I tell you, Allsop's been sort of holding onto his jumper at times too, Clinton, at different times during the game when they're well out of the action. Just a little bit of the jumper, clinging to him, pushing him a little, Roscoe.
At the quarter-time huddle, one of the coaching staff at Box Hill just said quietly to Allsop, you're worrying him. That's really good.
So how about this? Tranquilli did the undisciplined thing early, gave away the free. He gets the shot for goal because despite the fact that the other free was further down the field, it would have been a disadvantage to Box Hill to take it back. So Tranquilli's got a shot on goal. He probably doesn't deserve it, and it's squeezed through for a behind. So the umpires, Phil, yes, they are having a very big presence in this match.
And it's good to hear a line like that. He probably doesn't deserve it, because in a postmodern world where we're not much into deep-seated ideas, it's good that football still's got them.
But I did, Gordon Donaldson of Scots College said there should be more ethics of education.
Well, we've got it in the box.
We've got it in the box, that's right. We're ahead of our time. Another free. Brett Rowe gives it to Tranquilli.
But Clinton was right, he did not deserve it.
Here goes Tranquilli, tries the torpedo, it's a wobbly one, and it falls short, bounces, that's a mark. Oh, Fan took, well, he was a bit unlucky there, got away with it. Hollow, Henderson, got the hand pass out just. Felino, McCormick, the two midfielders combining well. To half forward, but turned over. Back there's McCartney.
There's your source, and Kilda out by 4 goals over the Tigers now, although it's tightening up at the MCG. That's a good mark from Rowe. We're in time on. Third term, just 1 goal kick this quarter. You'd fancy on that basis it would be short term, but we've had a couple of reports. McCormick gets away from Slater, as you would expect, but he runs out of room. And those fans there letting the umpires know that they can be vocal.
Well, it's good when there are 3 umpires, because you've got plenty to talk about.
Especially when they've got their names on the back and they're listed in the record. You can personally direct your abuse. Instead of the old days, you just, you know, you white so-and-so.
Yeah.
From the throw-in, McCormick gets it out to Henderson. High ball. Courage from Halpin. Gets a free. Deserved it.
What they really need is those, the .com on the umpires and or their address, Ross. I think that'd help, wouldn't it?
That's right. Get some personal messages.
Another whistle. Let's bring it back, says the umpire. They're just trying to stretch this one out to make sure that we finish as close to 5 o'clock as possible. Halpin will take it. Free kicks running 17-14 in favour of the Borough. Big fly from Sexton. Box Hill defenders there to go the punch. Ooh. Good little hand pass out. Hooks up with McCormick. High kick. Hollow's got to go to get to this contest. He drags down Nicol, and we'll have a bounce on 50 for Port. 65 plays 42. It was 54-41 at half-time.
Ever been to Pakenham, Phil? Because Frankston are playing Springvale there in round 20, probably.
The Pakenham Racecourse, I know about you. Crowley there.
Ooh, looks like a hamstring, doesn't it?
Yes.
He's been dogged by injuries in recent years. Nicol, missed it. Well, didn't get complete contact on it, but no danger there. Carroll off for Crowley.
Silence of the Lambs there, Roscoe, with that cellophane.
Don't watch violent movies.
No, that one would scare you, Ross. I wouldn't recommend it for an amateur. Unless you went to Scotch College, of course, because they're a bit rugged out that way these days, they tell me.
23 points our margin. Ross, the silence from Ross indicates that he's given that the contempt it deserves. Slater against Sexton. Port attacking, needs something. Nicol from behind, good punch away. Finds Rowe, who else? He's got his own football out there. To Sikora, caught, handball, turnover, Halpin, goes short. Not good, Brebner.
Gee, the radar's a bit astray today, Clinton, isn't it?
It certainly is, yes. Like the one in your car getting here, Brebner. Squares it up.
I can't wait until they put that system in that, you know, you don't have to look up your street directory.
Yeah, that'll be good.
BMW, isn't it?
Disney gets it from Jenkins. Wobbles a kick forward. Durling gets the hand pass off. Goodale chips it over the top. Now they have to be quick here. Dwayne lost it. Runs into Jenkins. Ball ricochets away. It's like it's in a pinball machine. Goodale's got it. 23 minutes gone to the third. Durling towards midfield. Great work. Aberfield, he's been good, hasn't he? Now, from midfield, he takes the man on the mark. Felino on. Goes to centre half forward. Have they got a flyer for the mark? Knocked down by Collins. Box Hill comes surging through. Is this the chance? Tranquilli couldn't pick it up. Holmes is there, running out of room. Says, here you go, Captain. Tranquilli has a flying shot. And it's over for a boundary throw-in.
Gee, he was stiff there, Clinton, wasn't he? If that ball had bounced for Tranquilli, he would have just... exploded through that little opening there at half forward and maybe pinged a goal.
He's a veteran, Ross.
Yes.
At 27, Andrew Tranquilli.
Alison Cook probably thinks he should be captain. Here's a go. Durling. Does that travel 10 metres? Here comes Clohessy. Shows courage. Brewer got him high. Advantage. Taken by McCormick. Good pass into Martin. Back to McCormick. Running well. Come on. Help it. In front of Holland. Was a kick touched. It's up towards Cameron. 2-on-1. A hand there. Cameron using the body strength. Dishes out the handbar. Sexton couldn't gather the feet or the football. Couldn't keep his feet. Dives on top. And McCartney dribbles it towards the line where Holland is lurking.
Holland now, good centering ball for Slater. He'll give it off to Brebnan. No, he decides to go himself. Good to see the big men kicking. Hammerfield, Brewer sold the dummy beautifully. Fires it into the pocket. Goes over the head of Tranquilli. Doubling back. Boundary throw in. Box Hill, when they run it, they do whisk it forward quickly. There he is, the former Magpie, Andrew Tranquilli. He's kicked 3 goals 4 today.
Yeah, 10 goals in the second term, just won this.
Yeah, it's remarkable. Should be a short term, only a couple of minutes to go, and Box Hill will head to the last change with a pretty good lead. Port have scored just 1 behind this quarter. Collins wins it down for Durling. Henderson there, sharp as well. Oh, ball taken, hurried forward by McCarroll. Edge of the goal square. Port, well, they concede behind. Jacoma thinking about it. Oh, he decides to bring it back into play. Hollow wrestling there with Nicol. Foligno caught by Tranquilli, too high. Free kick to Port, 20-14. The freeze now in favour of the Borough.
Can't be far away from quarter time when you see Foligno slip and Tranquilli. He almost missed with the tackle, but then really got him high.
Well, his first intention was to sort of bump him, Ross. It should have been to tackle him.
Henderson to Clohessy. Oh, up high was Jenkins with a good spoil on Sexton. Doing well. Baumgartner back to Sexton, caught with the ball, got the hand pass out in time. Jenkins couldn't lay the tackle on Baumgartner. Kick lucky. Gee, the players are slipping. That's a cricket practice wicket area over there. Clohessy, great mark. Rowe puts a bit of pressure on. That's good. Forces the kick wide. Forces the error to Jenkins. Good work, Brett Rowe.
23 points still the margin as Jenkins goes short, finds Sikora on the boundary line, chips it in front of the Social Club, the intended target, McCarroll. Port have it. Clohessy again. Hurried left foot kick to half forward for Halpin. Time running out, 26.5 minutes, although we have had 2 reports this quarter. Long ball, Dwayne the sit from behind.
Yes.
Oh, right on the siren. Well, how important is this kick from Scott Dwayne?
Very.
Look at this. Good leap and a big moment coming up. It would really give them a boost going into the last change. They're down by 23 points. He scored the only behind for them this quarter. If he kicks this, they're back within 17 points with a quarter to play. From 45 metres out, it's a good kick.
Got it.
He's got it. The Borough are not done with yet. And he's pretty happy about it, and that really will give them a boost. And good to see, Phil, 8, 9, 10 players coming towards him. They know now we've got a sniff. Fellas, it's only 17 points.
Well, they've been working a lot harder in that midfield zone. They haven't got the reward from it. They've sprayed the kicks around, but they're in the game. They know how much is at stake. They've really got to keep winning. It's getting tight up the top end of the VFL ladder. It's going to be a very interesting last quarter. They're in the game. They're a big chance. Not much scoring going on. You'd reckon that would go their way eventually because they are the form side in terms of the overall season. And there you see 1 goal 5 to Box Hill. Then again, as I say, that 6 scoring shots, although a couple of those might have been rushed, to 1 goal 1. A very interesting final quarter here
it should
at the Box Hill ground.
It should be terrific. Box Hill have led all day, as you see, by 2, 13 and 17 points. A quarter to play, Bev. Box Hill 9, 11, 65. Port 7, 6, 48. This one is still up for grabs.
Indeed it is, Clinton, thank you. And a couple of the AFL matches up for grabs. Let's first look at the Kangaroos, which has really tightened up, as you can see. North Melbourne lagging behind, but they've come back strongly. 11 goals, 10-76. Wayne Carey and Corey McKernan both with 3 goals. The Brisbane Lions, Jared Malloy has 4, Richard Champion and Simon Black with 2 each. Of the 11 goals, 6-72. And the Saints v Richmond, 9-14-68. St Kilda getting ahead from Richmond 76. I don't think that's the accurate score there. 7-7-49. Barry Hall has 3 for the Saints. Stuart Lowe has 2. Justin Platt, Matthew Richardson, both with 2 each. Richardson blows with 2 each for Richmond. Taking my foot right out of my mouth, let's go to VFL. Preston Knight, 7 goals, 3, 45 to Sandy, 15-5, 95. And taking a look at the other VFL match, Springvale 7-15, 57 to Bendigo, 8-4, 52. Results now from races 5 and 6 at Flemington, and in race 5, the Life's Party Catering Sprint over 1,000 metres. Joshua's Pride over the finishing line first from the favourite Go the Grey and Sir Moolah. The trifecta won $49.10. Number 6, a favourite Chow Baby taking the honours from Vianetta and Labille. Fayette was the unplaced favourite Chow Baby, 3 wins from the last 3 starts. As Clinton says, things tightening up at the City Oval. Let's go and listen in, I would think it's Box Hill this time.
Correct, Bev. You had a 50-50 chance, but you got it.
You're good at that,
I'm
Bev.
so
you
smart.
are very good at it.
What's the Tats numbers tonight, Bev?
I'll tell you later. I've got
Okay.
some money on them.
All right, Box Hill by 17 points. Let's listen into their coach, Brendan Mason.
We're ahead in the other stats in relation to the inside 50. We're hitting that area, but we're not converting. We're ahead in the centre breaks, but we're just not converting enough when we push forward inside 50, okay? So we're getting first use of our intent. Our endeavour is very good. Okay, we've had the ball 75 times. The benchmark's been met there. The tackles, the pressure, I reckon, has been sensational. 18 tackles, we have a benchmark of 15 tackles a quarter. 18, I reckon the run from behind our forwards to keep the ball alive and live has been good to allow the defenders to stay with their respective opponents. But we've just got to work into the red time. Rafter, 7-6, 7-6, 6-7. Who wants to go in and win the Grand Slam? Come on, boys, come on. You've got Gracie in there with tears coming out of his eyes, facing another knee reconstruction. This is where the emotion kicks in. You've got, as far as our finals go, last roll of the dice. Last roll of the dice, here we go. Okay, and we've just got to make sure that we get the first one. Shepherds 5. Okay, again, we've had as many Shepherds to not 1 quarter there when I asked you to give something in the 3rd quarter as what we had last week. What we just got to do is get the process right. I'm more than happy with the defenders, but don't lay off. Don't lay off. The matchups are good. We've got a hollow where we want him. We've got him pushing forward. We've got him out of that hole. That means now that we work him harder. Now we've got some pressure on the forwards. We've got their key defender out there, Noddy, Hugs, okay, Jay McCarroll, Hainsey. That means that we just don't become marking options. We just don't stay static. We don't hope that the ball kicked in the head. Where we're going to stretch is when we win the midfield to keep going, that we've got you 4 guys in particular who are giving good, strong leads, 2nd and 3rd leads. Present yourself, numbers pushing down, and try and make it to the last quarter. Our aim has to make sure we hurt them inside right. The boys come on. They're going to come at you in the next 5. They're going to come hard at you in the next 5. We've got to withstand that and make sure we're the one who wins, that we convert. Holland, Nickel, Disney, also Jenkins, McCartney, Brewer, Sakura, Rowe. There's the winning lines to determine this game. There's the line that's going.
So Brendan Mason dragging it all, the emotional heartstrings he can pull, talking about Dean Grace and facing potentially another knee reconstruction. He went off earlier this match and things not looking good. You love to go out and play for Brendan Mason right now, Phil. He was getting excited. They lead by 17 points. Let's take in some highlights now from the 3rd quarter. I hope our boys found some, because there was just 1 goal kicked early on and then 1 after the siren, but it was pretty good stuff. And how about this from Holmes? That was very lucky.
Well, it had plenty of drama, really, Clinton, this particular quarter, and a fair bit of theatre, and there were some bizarre moments. The report, a couple of reports, exactly. That mark was pretty flash. Some misplaced kicks. But great pressure generally in that 3rd quarter. And Brendan Mason, yes, he is fired up. He is really fired up. Last roll of the dice, he said. Absolutely important, Clinton. Right on the bell, on the death knock. A very important goal, that one.
By Dwayne. Let's take in some of the...
Only one he's kicked for the game, of course.
Here are the match stats. Just some of the individuals. Crowley with 25 touches for Box Hill. Rowe, 29. 19 kicks, 10 handballs. Brewers had 16 and Haberfield 19. While for the Port side, McCormick with 21 kicks and 2 handballs has had 23 touches. Felino with 19. Henderson with 18. And they've been inside 50 13 more times, have the Mustangs in this match. And still plenty more handballs, 67 to 36. Stay with us for this final quarter on ABC Television. VFL Match of the Round for round 13. Clinton GRYBAS, Phil Cleary and Ross Booth with you from the Box Hill City Oval. The Mustangs by 17 points with a quarter to play. Here's Ross Booth. Ross?
Yes, well, I heard you talk about the excited address by Brendan Mason, but it was anything but in the Port huddle. It really seemed flat. Darren Crockett trying to instill some life into his team, but it just seems like one of those days, Phil. I'm sure as a former coach, successful, you would know what it's like. Sometimes the players aren't up with it. I just get that feeling. If you go by anything in the huddle feeling, you'd think Box Hill will win. What Crockett's going to try and do is have lots of players running from behind the ball and try and run and create something. So it's going to be very hard work. They need to kick 5 goals, he feels, but I think they've got their backs to the wall. If they can win this, they're a very good side.
Yes, indeed. They are top of the ladder. Let's see if it bears out that way today. Slater beats Collins in the middle. Port off to the left of screen for this final term. They need that first goal. They got one after the siren on three-quarter time, which gets them back within 17 points. Sikora gets it off for McCartney. He goes direct, and it lands in the chest of Pugsley. He's too far out to score. Lead provided by Knott. Heads towards him. Good mark taken by Durling. 17 points the margin. Can Port keep top spot on the ladder? Bakulis quiet in the third term after a good opening. Kick to the wing will land in space. Now an important gather. McCartney heads for the boundary line and will find it.
Yes, well, Brendan Mason's happy that Chris Hollow, I think, is in the forward. Well, I know he's in the forward half. You've seen their number 7 for Port Melbourne. He seemed to be happy that the fact that he was there. I agree with him too. I think Hollow is better in defence, but and they are not able to get the right balance there. I think that's a worry for them.
Good tackle for Lino on Brebner. Held to him, no chance, says the umpire. Will have a bounce. There is Mark Brebner. Good match. He's played 16 touches. Slater wins it down. Almost in the back for Baumgartner. Close, he does well. McCormick, 22nd kick to fall forward.
Got it.
And Halpin takes the mark and should kick the opening goal of the final term. We saw plenty of AFL players bandaged up like the mummy last week, and we're seeing Matt Halpin likewise here.
Well, it's a fashion accessory these days in football, Clinton, isn't it? The bandage around here. They might as well start the game with one on.
Well, this is a big kick. It would give them a genuine sniff.
My word, it will.
They'd be within 11 points. Matt Halpin, 45 out, misses to the right. Do they keep it in? No, they didn't. There was a behind for Matt Halpin.
Didn't spin nicely off the boot. It wobbled. It's never going to be a goal. Gee, it's tight. They've got to get the first goal, you'd reckon, the Borough. If they don't get that first goal, they are, I reckon, out of the picture.
It's 16 points the margin. They led early stages of the second quarter, but it's been Box Hill. They kicked 4 goals in 7 minutes midway through the second term to take control of the game, and there's Brewer over the top, taking a good mark. Goes quickly, but turns it over. McCormick, Sexton, he's a big kick, he can get this. Sexton from 49. Yes!
Wow!
Port fans go crazy. Danny Sexton gets his third, and Port get the all-important first goal of the final quarter.
Well, gee whiz, Clinton, you get a turnover like that, a bad mistake in the midfield. You saw it there, slipped into the hands there of McCormick, and look at Sexton. He kicks from 50 and really bangs that ball down to the White Horse end of the Box Hill Oval, and I know where White Horse Road is now, don't I, Roscoe, because you told me during the call, and now it's only 10 points the difference.
Well, perhaps the huddle didn't reveal true feelings. Here comes Goodale.
Just a little bit lucky there, Goodale, because he tried to turn, almost blind turn. Did he have advantage, Clinton? Oh, line ball.
Good decision, umpire.
Thrown up by umpire Ackland. McCartney, the quick kick. Good mark.
They're the little contests that count, Clinton. Those little ones.
Henderson, Bakulis. Into Collins. McCormick. Better second half from
Look
him.
at the split. Look at the split.
Felino's loose. He's seen him now. That's Durling with a hand pass. Slipping again and caught. Oh, got away from Rowe. Felino puts it high. Is there a big mark there? Sexton was Shipping it out of the way. Slater. Out to Brebner. Nice use of the body to avoid the tackle to McCartney. Throws it on his boot towards the boundary line. Holland waiting for it to bounce. Fan attacked it. He might beat two, but he slips as well.
Oh, well done.
Drags it under, and now it's out. No, he locks it between his legs. What will the umpire say? I'll build it up.
See, Box Hill been able to get the ball into the corridor generally during the day, and that last piece of play with Durling there, where they went out wide, they lost it. Oh, dear. Darren Crocker would be banging his head on the box, I reckon, Roscoe.
10 points the margin as it's forced back over the boundary line. When these two teams met in round 2 at North Port Oval, it was the Borough by 58 points. Crocker kicked 5 that day. It was 25-7 to 16-3.
I reckon Crocker's going to have to really get himself right too, Clinton. You know, he's been back and forward with that hamstring, and he'll end up really doing some damage.
Slater.
And not playing.
Haberfield hurries the kick to half forward. Holland playing in front. Fan knocks it down. Charging through his row. Sweeps a handball over the top. Two Port players collide. Goodale to Durling. Lost it. Brewer. He should be caught. Good 3 tackles. Durling the soccer off the ground. Port again have the numbers but can't get a clean possession. Oh, and Paccioni's pinged. Box Hill free. It will be taken by Allsop. Paccioni can't believe it. Allsop finds Brewer. Now he'll be careful here after turning it over with his last kick. Knott provides a lead. Brewer inside the centre square will load it up and drive it long. It's a wobbly old kick. Port player backed himself. That was Collins. Foligno's been good today. Sends it out wide. Knott with the steal. 50 metres out on the boundary line. 6 minutes gone in the final quarter. Now, I don't think he can kick it from here. Damien Knott, he's kicked 1 goal 2 today. He's going to give it a genuine roost. It will land in the square. Sharp knocked it down. Ball ricochets away. Brebner missed it on the attempted soccer. Jacoma gets it out. Collins, they might concede a behind Port. McCormick, was he trying to do that? Lost it. Brebner caught. Good tackle. Tranquilly bumped by Fan. That's good footy. Good to watch, Phil.
Yeah, see, it was nice and tight there. We're going to have a look at that.
Crowley on the bench.
Hamstring, as we suspected.
Okay, thanks for that. So Crowley with a hamstring injury. You've got Wilson sitting in the back row and Grace there with, well, what his coach said, facing a possible knee reconstruction for a second time. Now, can Box Hill squeeze it away? They can. It's a goal. I think it's Tranquilly.
Tranquilly it is. Boy, is that a big goal.
He's kicked 4.
That is a big goal. A scrimmage, bang, through the pack, and that will really hurt Port Melbourne. It's almost against the play. Look at this. Look where Tranquilly is, just sitting back. Oh, can you believe it? And Bakulis there just thinks, how could that happen? Had the height, just not in the right location.
I was just thinking back to what Darren Wilkinson, the missing injured captain, said pre-match. He'd rather be kicking to the left of screen in the run home, so Port might have the advantage end. But, and so you're right with that goal coming the other way, very important.
Well, the way Port have been playing too, they just looked like they discovered what was the bit of chemistry there to get themselves going, and that really does hurt you. It's a tough old ask for them now.
In goes Slater. Robinson tackling, not letting it out. Careful to maintain the ascendancy. Baumgartner covered in mud. So umpire Forbes throw it up again. Slater and Collins come from the same direction. Slater won it. Body strength, not stolen by Sikora, away from Baumgartner. Going very wide. Henderson intercepted. Cameron slips. Here's McCartney. Close to the line, he's got Sikora in support. Goes along the line, it was touched. Cameron have to be quick, got his foot to the ball. Baumgartner wearing 44. Hollow, that was blind. He had 3 team men out there. Cloesi keeps it in, but Porter doing it hard. Paccioni, good, quick hands. Foligno, how'd he get out of trouble? Was he out? Oh. The umpire was right there, said no, that's out. I think they're both out, in fact. But
well, that was not a Bruegel there, Ross. You alluded to the blind leading the blind, but what we just saw was no Bruegel. It was more like a bit of pop art almost, I'd say.
9 minutes gone. 16 points in it. Slater in front. Flicks it to the back. Baumgartner caught by Slater will have a bounce.
Wasn't it pogrom, was it, Phil? You have to explain to me what that was.
That's another one. That is about the war. But, gee, they've just got to get something happening the Borough again now.
Collins to Clohessy, to Piccioni. Box Hill have been good with their desperation in that passage. Finally a clearing kick and charging out. Dwayne's got it. He's too far out to goal, you would fancy, but he'll give it a roost, and Sexton's the man back there. He's a marking target. Now Sexton leads, as you see.
Push back, Bongo.
Dwayne goes long, doubling back. Cameron there, hollow the fly. McCartney keeps it in. Wisely so, finds Brewer.
Good running.
Confidently so. A bounce, clears the 50. Handball over the top, good. Now, Jenkins shorts it to the middle for Haberfield. He'll square it up further for Slater. He'll probably be in their best again this week. Kicks to full forward for not coming out. Couldn't trap it. Henderson. Collins caught. Baumgartner hurries a kick. Didn't find anyone. Haberfield goes wide this time. That's good. And now Holmes. He's kicked a couple of goals. Too far out. Passes it. The lead of Knott.
Ooh.
First grab, not the second. Oh, charging through Haberfield, but he's caught by Durling. Got the handball away. Collins working hard. If Box Hill can get a goal here, they'd just about be home. 16 points in it, almost 11 minutes gone.
Gee, they've swarmed when the ball's hit the deck, haven't they, those small players for Box Hill? They've got a lot of class, you know, Clinton, on the deck.
Tranquilly with 4. Couldn't get a shot on goal. Sharp fumbles. Perhaps a turnover for Lino's worked very hard, especially in the second half. Wide. Chasing it is O'Neill, but boundary too close. 11 minutes, you can see. 16 points, the margin. In a low-scoring game, 10 goals to 8. 5 goals, Darren Crocker said, the Borough needed in the final term. Well, each of Port and Box Hill have kicked 1, so they still need a net 5.
Collins. Knocked on by Clohessy. Goodale paddling it on, knocking it on. Pushed over by Allsop. Boundary throw in. Stop the clock. And a throw in on the wing beneath the social rooms. You see a few people in there enjoying the warmth.
Stewart showing a bit of pace on the boundary. The cameraman.
Yeah. Collins gets it down. McCormick. Cameron backed himself. Foligno and Goodale spoiled one another. And now Haberfield has some room. Goes short. Good pass. Good mark. Holland. Fan alongside. 12 minutes gone. Time running out for Port. Box Hill look to be in control of this one.
Robinson just waiting for an option. He indicates he's going to kick long. The 50-metre area is pretty clear, but he won't quite reach that area. Durling, been paid. Tries to run it to Cameron, but awkward kick. He probably could have gone inboard. Fan in trouble. Still in play. McCormick. O'Neill. And another throw, but it's not really happening for Port. The midfield of Box Hill are putting pressure on.
Yeah, it's been a key part of the game, that midfield, Ross. I mean, it always is, I suppose, but Box Hill have been very good there. And Port sort of scrambling all over the place. The supply line's a bit stretched.
Collins won it down. Haberfield's kick ricochets away. Henderson, that's the break they needed. Now the field could open up if they can get the next possession. Forced down by Jenkins initially, and we'll have another throw in.
I wasn't thinking militaristically there. I know the feminists would probably like to pick me up on that, but just that the players not running together, that's really where they've had a bit of a problem.
16 points in it. Slater gets it off to Brewer. That was nice. Delivers to centre half forward, pretty good. And Holmes has got it again. Kicks to full forward, not coming out, should take it. And he'll line them up from right on the 50, perhaps 2 metres further than he would like to be. Damien Knott, 1 goal 2 this afternoon, heading towards this evening with this rapidly fading light. And this could just about secure their 4th win of the season. An upset against the top team. Not from 49.
Good
long kick. Long kick.
Good
He's got
kick.
it. They've got it, you'd think. There was a long wait before the hometown supporters went up, but they're pretty happy now because they're out by 22 points.
He's 22 years of age, Damien Knott, and as we said earlier, he's bagged quite a few goals in recent times. 18 from the last 5 games. He had 7 against Coburg. He's got the 2 today. That's a neat lead. Plenty of space available to him there, Clinton. Plenty of space to lead into, and that was a good kick. Got the distance just nicely.
Yeah, been here a while. Phil only played 10 senior games. This is his 11th.
Yeah.
Brewer back to McCartney. Won't go out in the full. It's slewed off the boot. Good mark, Tranquilli. Front of Jacoma. AT, state rep, scratches his head. Leading, he's got 4 goals to his name. 4-4 he's kicked. Not onto the ball. Goes wide. Sikora couldn't gather it in, but then nor could he tackle Goodale. He brings it back towards Sexton. Nickel up there with a big fist. Maybe a free kick coming out. Umpire Ackland doesn't look like he's going to award it.
Well, see, the Box Hill players didn't like that because Tranquilli was on the deck and he was really ridden and into the ground there. Got up all right, but gee, Sean Malone, I should say, copped one. Knees in the back the other week, had a perforated lung, and people know what the result of that was.
Port squeeze it out. McCormick finds Foligno. Kick and a half out from goal. Time on the wing for Port. Oh, an ordinary kick. Deflected away. Holland. He's well tackled. Gets it away. McCormick again towards the goal square. Wrestling Cameron. Couldn't take it. We'll have a boundary throw-in. Gives us the chance to remind you that Sea Change Series 2 on tomorrow night from 7:30 on ABC television. A great debut for Series 2 last week, peaking at 30 in Melbourne. I think it's Diver Dan's final episode tomorrow night.
It'll be a tissue job, won't it?
Oh, it will.
I'm no relation to that fella Cleary in Wildside last night, that shifty developer played by Gary Sweet. I said they used the name Cleary. I wasn't happy about that, Ross.
Baumgartner snaps and misses out to the right, a behind.
Just because we had Gary Sweet toss the coin at the grand final last year. Yes, it's drifting away from them, the Borough. Don't know about their performance today, Clint. When I look at it, I see a few gaps there in that side, a few little problems, Roscoe.
The whole premiership flag is opening up the race 4.
Yes, he was on North Ballarat's bandwagon a fortnight ago, and look what happened.
Yeah, they lost a couple of key players too. Danny Sexton on his left boot. That is strange.
We're looking for Hollow. He's one of a double centre-half forward team, although he was further, closer to goal. Here it is again, Hollow, and just edging Nickel under the ball.
Yeah, well, of course, he plays in the back half, usually Hollow. Today, on the forward line, there's the stats. He is a good kick.
First goal coming up. Yes, so the margin back to 15. 17 minutes in. This time, they need 3 goals. They could snatch it yet.
Yes, they could, Ross. They could. 3 goals are simply 3 goals. That's just 3 big ones through the sticks, but the way it's been going, well, I don't know.
Free kick going the way of, well, wait, I think, well, I will wait. Holland having a chat with O'Neill. It'll go Box Hill's way. That's a terrible mistake from Port because it's going to be a shot at goal by Robinson. Well, that was costly. Kangaroos in Brisbane, a thriller. The Lions by a point. That's on 3-0. St Kilda comfortably over Richmond at Waverley. The Saints back on the winners list. Robinson from 50 off the side of the boot. It will be a behind. So we've got about 8 or 9 minutes to go. Port need 3 goals. There is time if they're good enough, as that saying goes. They've got to go long, they've got to go straight, and it all starts here with Jacoma.
Kicked in all day. Kicked long, but that time he finds Goodale in front of Robinson in the centre corridor.
Will they get the second possession?
He goes long with a wobbly punt kick. Cameron didn't really go at the ball. Umpire let it go. Pachoni. Durling.
Oh! Now it gets interesting.
Clock 19 minutes. 15 points. The margin. Durling hurries up. Robinson.
Gee, that's
Dwayne was the target. Holland it is. So Dwayne was the target. Getting it wide and safe. Looking for Slater. Closey at the back spoiling. Rowe couldn't grab it. So a lot of goals in that second term, but Port have tightened in the second half, but the margin, 13 points, just handy at half-time. Quick kick by Haberfield's been very good, and Vacarroll can't go anywhere.
There's a fair bit of heavy breathing going on in this box, I can tell you, because it's very hard to look out the window at the present time.
Yes, it's cool out there, Phil.
Henderson takes it. Kick towards the 50. Waiting and Sexton!
Oh, did he mark?
Now he's 55 out on the stroke of time onto the last quarter. They're 16 points down. He decides to go short. Oh, it has to be precise, and it isn't. Oh, he should have gone longer. Brewer's got it. We're in time on, and it's a 16-point game. Brewer slows things down and hits Tranquilli on the chest. That may have been their remaining hope. Slater will mark. Box Hill, if they win this, their season will remain alive. Slater to half forward, punched away by Cloesy for a boundary throw-in. Box Hill currently 8th on the ladder, 8 points behind 6th place Sandringham, who looks set to take the points against Preston today, so they'll stay 2 wins out of 6th place. Darren Crocker's team will lose top spot on the ladder should Werribee prevail at Frankston tomorrow. From the throw-in, but there's still perhaps a couple of minutes for them. Holmes had it, lost it, it will stay in. McCormick gets the hand pass out to Sharp, that was good. Got to mark this ball. It's 2-on-1, but the one is Sexton. They're good odds. Oh, he could have had it in the end. Bounced off the chest. Fed out by Jenkins to McCartney. We'll have a boundary throw-in. 21 minutes gone. Final term, 16 points the margin. Box Hill looking for their 4th win of the year, their 2nd on their home ground.
Joni waits. Collins and Slater. Slater beautifully down. Taken by McCartney in front of Tranquilli. Here comes McCarroll. He just couldn't get to make a contest. Chopped off by Henderson. Gives it to Martin. Oh! McCartney took a beauty. Up early and stretched. Look at this. Over Howard Cameron. A telling mark. He goes short. Could be dangerous, but no. Brewer in front of Paccioni. They've Brewer enjoy the contest. He's caught well. Tackle from behind. Cameron. Paccioni gives away the free. A silly one.
Me.
Tell you what, Brewer lucky not to be pinged then, because he must have had prior opportunity because he told me to play on.
Yes, Jenkins. Sikora. The Mustangs go forward, looking for a big grab. Up goes McCarroll.
Oh, yes.
Too tall for Fan.
Fan's been struggling a bit, either a cramp or a bit of hamstring trouble there, but that's a big grab.
22 minutes on the clock. If he can put this through, it would be certainly all over. It's now.
And they will shape the final 6, Roscoe. The Mustangs, no matter where they finish, they'll have a big say in it.
Sorry, not McCarroll. Simkin. Much of that on the bench. There's a good grab. No, not paid.
Oh, yes. G's been good.
Damien Knott's got his 3rd.
And that makes it very difficult with 23 minutes now. It's all over, you would think. 84-62. Damien Knott continues his goal-kicking spree, really, by VFL standards, as we watch the crumb.
Well, he's not been brilliant. When I say he's been good, he's just kept working, and that's pretty encouraging, Ross, you know. He's just there bobbing up every so often and persistent.
He's kicked 21 goals in 6 weeks now.
That's a good strike rate, Clinton. You know, he's averaging 3 and a bit.
He's had 9 kicks and had 5 shots on goal. There'll be a celebration tonight in Box Hill. They might have a drink, Phil. From the bounce, Brebner dragged off it. Box Hill have the numbers. Simkin forces it towards half forward. Holmes knocked it down. Chacoma towards Sharp. Gets away from Brebner. Port have got to go very quickly now. Ooh. Goodale caught in the side or the back. Holland gives away the free. Goodale plays on. Good running from Sharp. He set that one up initially. Spears the pass to half forward. Doesn't reach Dwayne. And free kick going Box Hill's way. So there's been Plenty of free kicks. 22-18 in favour of the Borough. The ball to be taken by Nicol.
You can vote this week, Clinton.
Oh, I think I'll sit out. You don't really want me, do you? Just saying that Sexton couldn't take the mark. You've already got it done, Ross.
We like to make you feel good at least, Clinton, even if Collingwood are struggling.
Henderson kicks it inside 50. Halpin there takes it over for a boundary throw-in.
You don't disagree?
Like living in communist Russia from 10 years ago here. Yes, you can have a say, but this is what you're going to say.
And that's what you get. The keys to the coffee forward. Stan Petty's the man. He'll be there with Ross Booth at the finish. It's pretty tight. Rowe played very well in the first half. Not as big in the second, but gee, did set them up pretty well. He'll be one of them, Ross, I reckon. He'll be amongst it.
Haberfield.
Tranquilly's been good too, Ross.
Disney. And marked just inside the line by Brett Rowe. 4 goals for to Andrew Tranquilli.
This bloke's played a blinder in the first half.
Sikora short. In front of Close, just steadying things down.
Closey, you know, Proppy, Cameron Proppy, Roscoe.
Yeah. A lot of players haven't kept their feet today. Oh, up goes Holmes, and staying down was Simpkin. Carl Simpkin. Judged it better. Kick nicely read by Heath Goodale. Started slowly, come into it a bit. Here's Sexton calling for it wide. Close to the boundary. They're going very wide, Phil.
Well, that's just not good playing. You know, Crockett talked about them running from behind. That was the opportunity, wasn't it? I mean, that's exactly what you don't want to do. It just doesn't encourage good streamlined running through the corridor.
Only a couple of minutes to go at most. They need 4 goals. Can they get one here? No. Brebner takes it for the Mustangs. Kick to half forward, sharp from behind. Good work by the Mustangs to see it over the boundary line for a throw-in. We've gone 26 minutes. It's Box Hill by 22 points. Don't forget, grandstand football on ABC Radio tonight. The Eagles and Melbourne from 8:30. And the tennis, the final, if Pat Rafter's in. We'll broadcast both the men's and the ladies' finals on 3LO and regional stations tomorrow night. Now Rowe overruns it as he forces it inside 50. Piccioni there as well. Durling, Haberfield, Rowe working hard. Haberfield dragged down. Good tackle. Held to him. Will have a bounce.
He's been a bit exotic today, Piccioni, hasn't he?
He plays his football with passion, Phil.
Yes, he does. He does indeed, and he's to be congratulated for that. And that's what you like.
Taken now. Brebner caught by Henderson. Shovels it to Sikora. That would have hurt. Someone hurries her kick out. It's not 10. Coolest knocked it down. Sikora there. They're playing out time at the minute. Here's a chance for another Box Hill goal. Holmes!
Free kick if not a mark.
He will kick his 3rd goal. Take your pick. Good mark. It's terrific.
Speaking of Indians, Phil, almost a scalping there.
Well, this will really give them a good boost for their percentage as well. The percentage just 92 entering this game, and he slams it over the fence. We might have a delay. They might need a new footing. He's got 3. Box Hill are home. They're happy. That man touched with a little bit of sadness, Dean Grace. He's had a knee reconstruction before, and they fear the worst. We hope that he's okay. Here's the setup again, and a good mark by Ben Holmes.
I suppose you've got to wonder with Box Hill, Clinton, why they've been able to put this form together consistently. That's the other question that arises from the game. They seem to have enough talent. They've got a terrific midfield. They've got a ruckman. I suppose you have to look through where the injuries fell, because you get an injury here and there. But, I mean, they've done it without Wilkinson today.
Yep.
So that's a question you could ask the coach, Ross.
Brendan Mason will be the winning coach. Matthew Collins out of the middle. At the 4 was Holland. Good. Jenkins running in support. Just out by Robinson to Brewer. Goes wide to Simpkin. Mud on the face. Looks like a little goatee, Phil. Up to, well,
Big wrestle behind play, Ross.
Yeah, Holmes is doing well.
Big
Kept
melee
his eye on the
there.
ball, Brebner. He's been very good too, Philip, I reckon.
Yes,
Mark Brebner.
yes, Ross. I tell you what, he's been very creative. And again, the linking up, they ran out in numbers. They've been doing that really well. It's a good part of the game. Earlier in the year, we talked about them being a bit going wide. I don't think they're going as wide now. I think they do run straighter. So that's a good sign.
Brebner's kicked a goal.
Deserves this.
Some time at Collingwood. On the siren. Going for their 14th. He's got it. He's second. No, he hasn't. Right of disappointment. But that'll be overshadowed by the win, no doubt.
Terrific result for Box Hill. A great win, and it keeps their season alive. Look at that. Rowe and Haberfield embrace, and now Brebner and Rowe. This meant a lot to them. They needed this to keep that season alive, otherwise it was good night. And the race for the finals would have become a race in 7, but it stays a race in 8. Box Hill by 29 points, 13-13-91 to 9-8-62, and they led all day, did Box Hill, in terms of the changes on the scoreboard. 2 points at quarter time, 13 at half time, 17 at the last change, and a 29-point winning margin. The Borough, the top team, beaten today, Phil, and this Box Hill team, I picked them today. I thought they were going to be a chance, because they still consider themselves a chance of making the finals, and a good 29-point win.
Well, look, we talked about some of their performances. Big wins over Willie. Of course, a 9-point to North Ballarat, 8-point to Springvale, 1 point to Werribee. Losses.
That loss, yeah.
You know, I mean, they're losses where they've been right in the game. You see Brendan Mason, the coach, they've been nice and excited. And I did say before the game, they're an unpredictable side on the base of some of their performances. But they had a good side in today, plenty of talent. That midfield's terrific, there's no doubt about that. You look at the balance today, you got Knott and Holmes up there and Tranquilli. That was a great move by the coach to put Tranquilli to the forward line too. Caught Port out early, and you see the score line there. Gee, Port's forward line was very ordinary today, Clinton, but the midfield was terrible.
It certainly was. Our goal kickers, Tranquilli with 4, Knott with 3, Holmes with 2, Sexton 3 for Port. Box Hill players. Listen to them. We are the 1999 Premiers, they say. Let's go down to Ross Booth with the man of the match.
Yes, Brett Rowe is our man of the match. Well-deserved, Brett. And firstly, well, only from Stan Petty, he's got a present for you.
Congratulations, Brett.
Thanks, yeah.
Good game and a good game to watch too.
Yeah, it was
On
good.
behalf of Coffee Forward, the keys of Coffee Forward, ladies.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Coffee Forward and the ABC. It's just a good win, finally, to been under the pump for a couple of weeks. We've been there and thereabouts, but finally to beat a top side is good for us, I think.
Certainly know how to sing and celebrate. I haven't seen such emotion for a while. It's been a long season till now.
It has. We've been pretty close, like I said, so close. We lost, I think, 4 games under 10 points. So it's just good to get a win against the top side again. You know, it's just.
It hasn't been easy for you. Your second game back in because you've been injured.
Yeah, I got a compressed fracture of my cheekbone against Frankston at round 5. and it was, so I came back last week against Sandy in the 2s, and it was just first game up, so confidence is good, and it was just good to get a win, I keep saying.
Yeah, terrific, Brett. Look, while we've got all the boys who might have a word, say there, fellas. Cameron Crowley, 100 games. 100, was it 100?
No, today was 102. I played my 100th 2 weeks ago against Bendigo, yeah.
And done the hamstring again, have you?
Again. First time for the year, mate.
First time
for the year, so yeah, it's gone. So I was physio 4 weeks, I think, so yeah. Who cares, mate, when you win like this? This is great. Showed everyone, like last week, debacle, we just said, come back, gain a bit more respect in the competition, and we showed that today, I think, knocking off the top side.
You certainly did 100 points. So you reckon you're good enough to go and make that 6?
It's going to be hard, but we've put ourselves in that situation, and if we play like we did today, we can get there and we'll scare a few sides, mate.
Congratulations. We'll look forward to the second 100. Matt, well done. You're giving Brett Rowe a bit of a stick there. So a great feeling, of course, to win.
Oh, sensational, yeah. Really mentally prepared ourselves today for this one, and, you know, Port Melbourne, top of the side, really want to knock them off.
Yeah. What, you haven't been mentally prepared before, or what was different about today?
Oh, we just lapsed concentration. Like, it'll be a quarter that, that'll sting us, and, the opposition will kick an 8-goal quarter, and, it really tells a toll on us.
Okay. Terrific win.
Thanks, Ross.
And the big fellas here. Yeah, well, look, we'll let you have a chat, then we'll line up a bit of a chat with Brendan Mason, perhaps Adam Slater, who rucked really well too.
OK, terrific, Ross. We'll go back to you in about a minute or so's time, but feel a pretty good performance from the Box Hill team. Set themselves up for this game. They're genuinely happy with the win.
Yes, and interestingly enough, that was Matthew Brewer, I think Ross was talking to at the finish. Well, his father played in the 1985 Premiership for Sandringham. He'd crossed over and they were a power side, so it's good to see those traditions carried on, although, albeit he's at another club. But, look, here's one of those players too in the midfield. They were so good. There are a lot of problems in the Port side, I reckon, on today's performance. Their midfield was really bad. There is a bit of fracturing there at times. I think there's something about... I know Darren Crocker will be working hard at this to get this consistency into the way they play. Paul Barber-Walsh has passed the box, and he is very, very excited as a Box Hill supporter. Look, Porter a top side, but there's just a few little problems in that side on the basis of today. But look, to go to the winners, there's Brewer again. That midfield, Brebner, Brewer, Sikora, Rowe, Haberfield. Gee, didn't they play well? Yeah. And I was critical of them earlier on in the season when I reckon they were going too wide. But even, you do go wide at times. But I thought today they were pretty good in that they ran in numbers and they got the lines moving, Port, by contrast, a number of times where they sort of fanned out, and I think it was summed up in the last minute of the game when Sexton had the ball, they went out wide, right to the line, the boundary, for what purpose? Henderson was pretty good. Hollow, you see there, ended up on the forward line. Sexton really tried.
Well, from that, he went short turnover, and in the end, it resulted with the Box Hill goal.
Yeah, look, if people think about it, you watch Port Adelaide last night, and the way they try to be really creative with the handball, you get a player running from behind, even waiting a fraction till he gets into the space. That's really important. You need those sort of running players, and players have got to be smart.
Tranquilli was in there, and that goal was kicked by Knott. He finished with 2 in the last quarter.
I liked Knott's game. I thought I loved Tranquilli's game. I reckon it was fantastic. Kicked 4 goals in the way that he did. And the stats, well, not much in the kicks, but look at the handballs.
Yep.
That was good. And they made real use of it. And the good thing about that was they spread Port Melbourne out. There's the boys. They spread Port out, and Port were in trouble. They couldn't get their game going.
Let's listen in. Pretty happy, the Box Hill boys. We might stay down there actually and see if we can find Ross Booth with an interview or two. Roscoe running around. We've got a minute or so before we hand back to Bev O'Connor. Ross, we're with you.
Yes, our quarter time, coach. Well done, Brendan. I haven't seen such emotion for a few weeks at least. Fantastic.
Yeah. No, thanks. Been a big week in footy. The old cliche goes, it's been a long week, Roscoe, and we're coming off a debacle last week, embarrassed as a coach, as a team, individually and collectively as a team, as a club, we're embarrassed. And when we have a bad one, we have a bad one. It was a critical game for us. Sandringham would have put us on equal points for the 6th spot we were competing for, and it was we had to come out and make a statement today.
Well, you have, and they're really joyous down here. Fantastic, and Box Hill Phil, they're on the road. They're going to try and fight for that 6th position.
Terrific. Thanks for that, Ross. Let's check what's coming up tomorrow in the VFL. 2 matches being played. Williamstown at home to Coburg. Williamstown can't afford to drop that. And a big one at Frankston. Yes. The Dolphins up against Werribee. That'll be a blockbuster. Next week, we've got a big one as well. Have a look at this. Werribee versus Williamstown. If Williamstown drop this, Phil, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. That's a big one.
They're in deep strife. If they lose that, they don't come much bigger than Werribee, Willie, I tell you, out in the western suburbs. It will be fantastic. Great venue, beautiful day, that one, and we'll enjoy it.
And you loved your day today in the eastern suburbs. Bevy really did. 29 points our margin. Box Hill over the top team, Port Melbourne, a big day today.
As long as you two had a ball, that's all that concerns me. Thank you so much, both of you.
Get on your Bev.
Yes. Let's take a look at the winners, though, from the AFL. And an absolute thriller, the Kangaroos defeating the Brisbane Lions, and Kilda over Richmond. Just 2 sensational matches this afternoon. Now, before we update the day in sport, it's time to cross to the ABC newsroom for an update.